were playing their fourth game in 6 nights. So I think there's definitely a lot of revenge on the minds of the Celtics here right now. But this Knicks team is playing the best basketball of their season, right? I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, they've won 7 or 8 in a row. Only second, I think, in the East to the Bucks, who have won Bucks are just, what do they won? 17 in a row at this point.
It feels like they never lose.
Insane number.
Yeah, the Knicks are starting to look like, what people had hoped they would look like. You look at their February record, they have only 2 losses in all of February, and they start off March with a win. So this is a team that's starting to look like, they might be able to be kind of a sleeper.
Absolutely. 37-27 on the year. Obviously, 26-16 in conference, 19-15 at home, 18-12 away on the road. So a winning record on the road. Last 10, 9-1, won 7 in a row. This is the team comfortably sitting in the 5th spot in the East. Obviously, Cavaliers in 4th, these Sixers in 3rd, these Celtics in 2nd, half game back behind the Bucks. And you think about the Celtics being a half game behind the Bucks, and the Bucks have won 17 in a row or whatever it is. That just shows you really how dominant the Celtics have been. It took 17 in a row for the Bucks to get a half game lead over the Celtics. So the Celtics, obviously, again, they just need to do what they always do. They need to shoot the ball. They need to play like a team. They need to build good habits, good chemistry in this team. They always seem to peak well as we're coming into the playoffs. And obviously, like I said, the seedings in the East really starting to shape up. Like they're really going to take shape towards the end of the season. Where there's nothing really is going to be set until this last stretch in the Eastern Conference, other than maybe the Bucks and the Celtics there at the top 2 positions, whether they flip flop or not, is really the only thing you can kind of count on. Anything under that, Sixers, Cavaliers, Knicks, Nets, Heats, Hawks, I mean, you go down the line, you still got a lot to figure out towards the end of the season. But again, just another NBA winner that people can take advantage of tonight.
Yeah, we've been rolling. The NBA has been, again, we've been cherry picking the NBA. The best part about the legalization of sports is the fact that these bookies don't cut you off. In the past, if you would cherry pick your bookmaker 1 or 2 best bets a week, they would fire you. They'd say, I don't want your business, and you'd have to start scrambling to find a new guy to play with. And that would happen all the time. These new places, yes, they will limit you. I can't keep a book from limiting me, but that's one of the reasons why I have as many outs as possible. It's another reason why I try to rotate my biggest bets from one place to the next. If they're all things being equal, if 2 places have the same line, I will hit the place that I had not hit in my previous big bets. So when you're following the money management system, we'll guide you on things like that to help you from prevent from being limited by your sports book, because they will limit you, but they won't cut you off. And that's the best thing about being part of the NBA with us. We will be able to cherry pick 1 or 2 games a week. The college has been 3 or 4 games a week of our best bets. They're elite. They don't lose. And we can lead you and guide you into a market that is so beatable. So many people out there make so many fundamental mistakes, so many self-inflicted wounds, because they don't even bother to check the smallest details. Who's on a maintenance day? What was the travel schedule? Even I hear so many people are betting golf. They don't want to look at weather reports in golf when in the morning the wind is laid down, and people are betting people in the afternoon to be on the leaderboard at the end of day 1 when the wind is up at 25 miles an hour. It's just mind-boggling to me how little homework the public does. That's why the public gets killed, the suckers get suckered, and the sharpest guys like us continue to dominate, and we'll share what we're doing. Whatever I bet, you'll bet, and you'll get what I bet today on my recorded message. Call it now, 888-366-FREE. Just dial it up, listen to the recorded message, get my 3 best bets, or go to freewinners.net, get my best NBA game, Knicks Celtics, for $49 with a money-back guarantee.
888-366-3733, 888-366-3733. Houston, Memphis, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Indiana, all 3 on the free recorded message right now. That's going to do it for us. Enjoy your Sunday, everybody. Enjoy the games. We'll see you back here next Saturday for more of the freewinners.net radio show. All right, point spread players, here we go. A huge Sunday before Selection Sunday, and it goes now. Houston and Memphis, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Indiana. There are no 3 bigger games on the college basketball board than those 3, and we've got them for you today. 888-366-3733, 888-366-3733. Number 1, Houston travels to Memphis at noon. Illinois and Purdue at 12:30. Michigan, Indiana at 4:30. Those are your 3 college hoops today. We've got them for you on a free recorded message, and they're absolutely free. 3-0 to all callers right now to 888-366-3733, 366-3733. Selection Sunday is a week away. Have you built a bankroll? Are you ready for the round of 64? Are you ready to make money in March Madness this year? If you have not built that bankroll, today is the day to do it. Houston, Memphis, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, and Indiana, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 right now, absolutely free. Call 888-366-3733. And that's not all. If you need a winner in the NBA, Paul Nolan over at freewinners.net. Knicks, Celtics, another game we absolutely love.
Hey, Siri, take me to freewinners.net. Guys, go there, spend $49 with a money-back guarantee. Celtics, Knicks, love that game. I know for a fact it cannot lose. It's only $49. With that, you get a money-back guarantee. If it does not cover, I will give you your money back instantly, or you can have 7 days of all of my best bets text directly back to your cell phone every single day.
888-366-3733. Houston, Memphis, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Indiana. Get all three right now absolutely free. 888-366-3733. 888-366-FREE is the number to call. 888-366-3733.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Philadelphia Union Soccer, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. 9:01 a.m. here at 97.5 The Fanatic Studios. It is Connor Thomas and Tom Alvord. Hello. Your usual Sunday morning pairing. We got Ray Dunn on the board back there. We got Haley running the YouTube. You can check us out on 97.5 The Fanatic's YouTube page as always. And if you are on the YouTube, you're going to see an important part of where I want to start today. Because, of course, we're starting with the Philadelphia 76ers and that huge win over the Milwaukee Bucks last night up there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it was like most big Sixers wins. It was a bit of a heart attack at points. A little bit of a roller coaster, if you will. Yeah, for sure. I don't even know if I'd call this one a roller coaster because it was tight the whole way and the Sixers never really had a hold on it. And then the third quarter, Milwaukee just absolutely went off. Like the Sixers, it was never they were up big and then they were down big and then they were up big. Like, no, they were hanging around the whole game and then Milwaukee went on a run. And then starting the fourth quarter, you counter with your own 15-2 run, courtesy of one James Harden, who's absolutely unbelievable, and Joel Embiid, of course, and Tyrese Maxey as well. And it was a really, really nice finishing effort by the Philadelphia 76ers. It was great work by them. That's a huge win. Milwaukee is a very good team. They had won their last 16. They were the hottest team in basketball. Your top seed, they'd taken over top seeding in the Eastern Conference, and now you're looking at a really, really nice win by the Philadelphia 76ers on a tough road trip, and that should give you confidence in this team. We talked about last week. We came in here, we did this show the morning after the Philadelphia 76ers lost to the Boston Celtics. And Jason Tatum hit that last-second three and the Embiid shot that didn't count. And there were a lot of people calling in saying how worried they were about the Sixers. And this is their problem, and this, that, and the other thing. And, Tom, I think we were very measured in our assessment in that, yeah, that loss sucked. It was not a good finish for the Sixers, but that showed that they can compete. We saw the same thing last night. Now, the result, obviously different. And that's how these games go when you're playing the top competition in your conference, the top competition in the association in general. They're going to be tight games. It's going to be playoff caliber basketball when you get in those type of situations. And one way or another, you're going to have a heart attack in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be very close. And sometimes you come out on top, sometimes you don't. That's just the nature of sports, the nature of basketball, the nature of playing some of these top teams. This time, the Sixers came out on the good side. James Harden was incredible, like nearly a 40-point triple-double. What do you have, 38, 10, and 9?
1 rebound away. That is vintage Harden.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you traded him for. And you got to steal because Ben Simmons, who knows what he's even doing these days. But anyway, James Harden being here is a huge part. Joel Embiid had another great night. Tyrese Maxey starting was a great decision. We'll get more into that in depth a little bit later on in the show. But very, very good win. And I want to hear from the people. 610-632-0975 is how you jump into the program today, as always. How you're feeling, if this has calmed the concerns a little bit that you would have had last weekend when we talked to y'all after the loss to the Boston Celtics. Are we as excited this morning as we were distraught following that game against Boston? You and I both know the answer, Tom.
Yes, we do.
The answer is a resounding no, because wins never seem to hold the same weight as losses, and that's nature.
Especially with the Sixers as well.
Especially with the Sixers. Yes, they are a powder keg when it comes to sports talk in this town. That's why we love them being in this industry, and it's also why, as fans of the team, it drives us crazy. But I'll tell you what. We saw last night what you're going to need. You're going to need Joel Embiid and James Harden to be superheroes, not superstars, not really good basketball players, otherworldly, like above the human level. That's what you're going to need to knock off these teams. That's what you're going to need if you're going to win a championship. And that's not a Sixers thing. That's an NBA thing. That's how you win a championship. I know a lot of people tuned in right now. I'd be willing to say, actually, the majority of people tuned in right now do not remember the Sixers' last championship. So it's been a while since we've seen a team that is a championship-winning basketball team in this city. We've never seen it, Tom. Never in our lifetime. Which is crazy to say considering the quality of basketball players and the quality of teams that have come through this city. But something that you need in the NBA if you're going to win is you need one or two superhuman playoff efforts. Not one game, not one series, throughout the playoffs. You need what Kawhi Leonard was for the Toronto Raptors in 2019. You need what LeBron James has been for so many teams so many times. You need what Steph Curry has been for the Golden State Warriors so many times. That's how it gets it done. And that's what you saw last night, and that's the expectation if the Philadelphia 76ers are going to win a Larry O'Brien, or even win the East, or even get to the Eastern Conference Championship. That's what you're going to need. Tom, how confident are you that James Harden and Joel Embiid can deliver that over the course of a playoff run?
If healthy, which so far so good, if healthy with these players, with this team this season, I am confident. Now listen, it's going to be tough. These are tough teams you're going to have to go against. These are tough players you're going to have to go against in Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Giannis Antetokounmpo, everything. We understand that, yes, but when they're at their best, which last night and recently they have been in Joel Embiid and James Harden, that gives you a chance because, yes, coaching is important. Bench is important. Everything like that is important. Home court advantage is important. But when it comes down to it in the NBA, more times than not, it's how your stars show up in the biggest games. Let's be honest. Last year in the playoffs, to some fault of their own, to some fault of other people, in the biggest moment of the biggest games, James Harden and Joel Embiid did not step up for this basketball team. They didn't.
I don't know that it's fair to say about Embiid. I don't know that it's fair to say about either of them because of the injury issues, right?
Sure, but, you know, what have you done for me lately? Like, there's only so many excuses.
They beat the Bucks. That's what they've done for you lately.
There's only so many excuses when it comes to the Sixers team with James Harden in the playoffs and with Joel Embiid in the playoffs. That's just how it is. Unfortunately, that's how it is. So, and like I said, where it's some fault of their own and some fault not of their own. When it comes to Embiid, yes, the injury, him getting elbowed in the face, but you didn't have enough from your superstar in the last couple games of the season. James Harden especially, and more so on James Harden. And yes, he was dealing with the injury, and it's obvious he was injured last season when you see the jump that he has made this season. Listen, it's never going to be, I don't think at least, after I see last night's game, it's not going to be 2018, 2019 Harden every single game where you're getting 45, 10, and 10 every single game.
Yeah,
That's not just going to happen. That's not going to happen right now with a 33-year-old James Harden, but he was not good enough last year. And yes, the injury was a huge factor in that, but we got what? 2-3 great Harden games throughout the playoffs last year, and other than that, it was all below average games. If he can give you more good to great games in the playoffs consistently this year, that's what it's all about. Because they have enough. Tyrese Maxey, yes, the bench is still a little bit of an issue. It is. It absolutely is. And we have a little bit of injury problems. We'll see what happens with Tobias and PJ Tucker. I don't think it's anything huge, but obviously this is not a perfect team. This team is still flawed. But when it comes down to it, when you have James Harden playing the best basketball he's played in a couple years, when you have Joel Embiid continuing to be a top 5, top 3, top 1 player in the NBA, any given night, they can win. They can compete. Does that mean that they are going to win a title? No. It's very hard to win a title in the NBA, especially when you have to go through Boston, especially when you have to go through Milwaukee. But they have a fighting chance. And that's all I want, Connor. They have a realistic chance to win a title, to get to a title, to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, whatever you want to say, whatever your goalpost is with this team, and it should be finals right now. That's what it should be with this basketball team, and it needs to be.
Well, it should be winning the finals.
Correct.
Not just getting there. It should be winning the finals. Because I can't take another championship loss, dude.
Oh, my God. We're not doing that right now. No, positivity right now.
Yes.
But no, they have a realistic chance when James Harden is playing like this, when Joel Embiid is playing like this, and when Tyrese Maxey is back and right again, which it looks like he is.
Yeah, listen, what they did last night was great. An underrated part of last night's win, because people are going to look at the 38 from James Harden and the 10 assists and the 9 boards and say what you said, Tom, vintage James Harden.
Excuse me, just 2 turnovers as well, and just 1 from Embiid.
And that's a great game. What I look at, what pops out most to me when I go back and I look at the box score, I see 10 assists from Joel Embiid. I see that, and I say, man, okay, he might have only had 31, and saying only 31 is crazy, but we know he's capable of 40 any given night. But that's a guy that did what he needed to do for his team to win last night when it wasn't exactly his game, when he only had 6 rebounds, and he wasn't totally the monster on the boards because you have Lopez and you have Giannis who clog up the lane for a team like Milwaukee. Well, you find the guys that are open on the wings. George Niang, a nice game off the bench with 16. Like, it's not going to, and I know we've already seen comments on the YouTube, people saying that Harden, that Aragon Remsburg, great name there, I guess, says on the YouTube.
Character from Game of Thrones.
Maybe. Harden won't be able to play like that consistently in a 7-game series. And you're right.
That is true.
But nobody does. What you need is one of those super efforts from either Embiid or Harden or Maxey over the course of a series. And when one guy doesn't have it, the other guys need to pick them up. And last night, they all played really damn well.
And no, if you are expecting this from James Harden every single night, then you are going to be disappointed because that's not what he's capable of right now. Can you sprinkle in 1 or 2 of these games in a 7-game series, but then be above average to good every other game? I can't have the 7 turnover type games. No, can you give me 22 with 13 assists and keep the turnovers down? That's all I'm asking for Harden. Right. You give me a game like that, which I think he's capable of the playoffs 1 or 2 times in a 7-game series, and
you win that game.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. And just keep it consistent and stay above average to good the rest of the way.
Yes, absolutely.
With James Harden.
And I have a very special crew neck sweatshirt on today.
It's a nice sweatshirt, dude.
If you've seen it on YouTube already, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go over to the YouTube, because on the other side, I'm going to tell you why I'm wearing this sweatshirt today, why I have this sweatshirt, because it's a funny story for the reason that I do have it, and what it signifies when it comes to the 2022 Philadelphia 76ers. That's a tease right there. The sweatshirt tease. You didn't think you were getting one of those on your Sunday morning program, but I'm working on it. Trying. One day, maybe. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. Couple of open lines still. Talking Sixers. Huge win last night. How does that make you feel comparatively to where we were a week ago when we were doing the show following a tough loss to the Boston Celtics? And what is the look for how this team gets to where we want them to go? Because I think it looked a lot like last night. And I'm going to tell you coming up why we got to prepare ourselves mentally, physically, everything for what's going to be a really tough run. Again, 610-632-0975 is how you get in. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Spring training isn't just for baseball players with the warmer weather around the corner. It's time for you to get into shape, too. This is because with NJ Diet's contractually guaranteed program, you're going to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days. That's right, 40 days to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds and start feeling good, and it's guaranteed. NJ Diet's program starts with personalized supplements based on your hair and saliva and blood work. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet plan and workout regimen to help you keep the weight off. 40 days to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds is a real thing with NJ Diet. They're with you every step of the way. You're fully monitored by their certified staff the entire time. You'll get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Schedule your consult today for contractually guaranteed weight loss. Offices in Cherry Hill, King of Prussia, Newark, Delaware. Live online video consultations from home as well. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com and lose the weight for good.
Wendy's home-style French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me. Did you just say Wendy's French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Christine.
I'm a director and a performer. I got a free phone from Cricket, and I've used it to live stream 73 of my shows on social media.
How do you like it?
It's fabulous!
Switch to Cricket and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial, limited time. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month first month service charge and tax to its sale. Phone streams video and SD. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
New to the Bet Rivers Casino app? Then let's show you around. Starting with tons of amazing slots, including the exciting Tiger Lord and Peacock Beauty. Or check out the action of Live Dealer Lightning Roulette and our incredible Live Dealer Blackjack. Plus, add our award-winning customer service and the fun never ends. Bet Rivers Casino app with slots and live dealer games. It's a whole new game.
Must be 21 plus. Available in Pennsylvania only. Void where prohibited. Terms and conditions apply. Presented by Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What do you mean he went searching for fresher powder? We have full classes today.
Instructor down at Vesper Ski School.
Toward each other to snowplow, honey, not away.
She needs more ski instructors to slalom through the day-to-day.
Pizza, fries. Whoa, Braley, no, pizza.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
¿Tienes un arma en la casa que no está bajo llave?
房子里有没有解锁的枪?
No matter how you say it.
Is there an unlocked gun in the house?
Always ask if there's an unlocked gun in the house. Guns are now the leading cause of death for kids. So, the next time you drop your kid off at a play date, a sleepover, or even at a friend's, remember, it doesn't kill to ask.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far with their breakfast. Like the naked egg taco and chicken biscuit nachos. It was too much. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food. Like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or, as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
Listen to 97.5 The Fanatic everywhere. On Alexa at 975thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey. Philly sports fans, the energy of the city. 97.5 The Fanatic.
$9:18 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Nice Sunday morning. Gonna get up to like 50 today, 55 maybe.
Not bad.
Starting to get a break in the weather. You know what comes up this week too, right?
What's that?
On the 11th. Daylight savings time.
Is that right?
Yes,
oh,
sir.
Man, look at that.
March 11th. I have it marked on my calendar every single year. Hopefully this will be the last year, and we'll actually get that bill signed in Congress or the House or whatever they got to do. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't want more daylight. So hopefully that would be life-changing for me because I hate winter, and I hate when it's dark out at like 5 p.m. and everything. But, folks, we made it this week. Clocks are going forward again. So you lose an hour of sleep, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it for it to be light out at like 7 p.m. I do that every single day, basically, is I check the sunset time. And it only changes by like a minute.
I was going to say, it doesn't change much on a daily basis.
I just love watching it get later and later and later. Dude, I hate darkness and I hate winter. I'm telling you, I'm as anti-winter as I think anybody is anti-anything on this planet. Like, I am so staunchly against winter. If it wasn't for Philadelphia sports and this job tying me to this area, I would be on a beach in Florida somewhere so fast. Like, so quick. One day I might be anyway. But man,
looking forward to it.
You're looking forward to it? Trying to get rid of me? I think I'll be here for a little bit.
I don't think anyone likes winter. Or I shouldn't say that because there's people out there that are crazy. But I don't think anyone loves winter or anything like that. I don't hate it nearly as much as you do, but I am very much looking forward to next week when it gets dark. It's 7:30 compared to what, 5:30 right now? That it probably is 6:30.
We're close to 6 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like 6:01 on Wednesday and then 7:01.
This truly is, and not to get too off, this is the best. This is my favorite time when it comes to like a calendar, the day of the calendar, whatever it may be, the stretch. It's when spring training starts, daylight savings, warmer weather. Like these next 3 weeks are the greatest time because you're getting out of winter, you're getting out of the dark nights, like you said, and it just Philly spring training, something to get excited for, obviously. And you have daylight savings and just winter's over and it's just warmer and warmer day by day, dude. It's perfect. I can't wait.
I'm with you. March Madness coming up.
Yeah,
you got important NBA basketball going on.
Golf season's coming around.
The Masters coming up. I'm going to be watching the Arnold Palmer Invitational, if I can say it correctly, later today when we get done the show. I'm going to go ahead and watch that. It's a great time of year for sports. The only downside is no football.
Correct.
But with the weather, I think I'll take that trade.
And you got combine, you got draft, you got free agency. So there's always football.
And we're going to talk a little Eagles draft a little bit later on in the show. But I want to tell you what I was talking about with this beautiful sweatshirt I'm wearing. First, I'll tell you what it is for anyone who's not watching on the YouTube, because it's not good radio to just say it and talk about sweatshirt you can't see.
Correct.
So what this sweatshirt is this is a black crew neck Philadelphia 76ers sweatshirt. It's got like the Sixers logo on it and it says Sixers and everything. It's got a lineup of 5 players. The 5 players on this sweatshirt are Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, and Tobias Harris. I know. Throwback, right?
Was it 2019?
This is the 2019 Philadelphia 76ers sweatshirt. So you say, oh, Connor, you've had that since 2019? And to that, I say no. I've had this since Christmas 2020 because I told my mom for Christmas that I needed some more Sixers gear. That would be some good presents to get me. And I guess she just went online and looked up like Sixers sweatshirt. And I got this sweatshirt Christmas of 2020 after Jimmy Butler was off the team and after Ben Simmons had that collapse in the Hawks series and everything. So, you know what? Yeah, it might have been. No, it was during that year, but it wasn't at that point yet. But yes, Jimmy Butler was gone. And this team didn't exist anymore when I got the sweatshirt. So I was like, cool, thanks. I'll save it for a couple years for when it becomes like a vintage item. And now it's like kind of the ironic vintage. Half these guys are gone.
It's still a cool item, though. It's not something that you're not. It's not just like a singular Ben Simmons sweater or something like that. That'd be something different.
No, I'll
advise you not to wear that.
Yeah, that I would not be putting on anymore. And for good reason.
Because when it comes down to it, that is the best team we've seen since 2001.
Yes, 2019 was what a lot of people consider to be the Sixers' best chance. Now, I think this year could certainly overtake that. But there's a reason why I put on the 2019 crew neck today. And it is because we need to mentally prepare ourselves for a playoff run like that 2019 team. I know they only went to the second round, but that is what you're up against. What that Toronto Raptors team that you lost to on the Kawhi Leonard shot that we all remember in our nightmares, that's the kind of series that you have to prepare yourself for against either Milwaukee or Boston when you look at the second round. That's it. That's what you're looking at because you're facing a team of that caliber. You're facing a championship caliber team in the second round. That's just reality of the way this is going to break down. The Sixers are not going to be the 1 seed. They have a chance to be the 2 seed, but most likely they're going to end up 3 seed. So yeah, it's going to be a dogfight series. And you have to prepare yourself for games like that, where it's not the Hawks series where you're going to blow huge leads and smoke them one game and look like you should absolutely demolish them. It's not going to be the Heat series of this past year where it's just like, okay, because of injuries, the Heat get the better of you. And it was kind of clear that team was just playing better. No, this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out second-round series when the Sixers get there because they're not losing in the first round. And 2019 is probably like the level of stress that you have to prepare for. I understand in result that Hawks series was as stressful as the Toronto Raptors series back in 19, but the Raptors series was the more competitive of those two, I think, between the two consistently over a 7-game basis.
Well, and the biggest change to me and the difference between those two series when it comes to the Hawks a couple years ago and the Toronto series against Kawhi is that Hawks series, that team did not have a fighting chance of being an NBA Finals winner. They didn't, in my opinion. And you learned it after Game 5, and some say you could learn it after Game 7. But Game 5, I knew that team was not a true championship contender with Ben Simmons as your number 2. The 2019 team with Jimmy Butler, they were. They just fell short because the NBA is tough. And that was a really good Toronto Raptors team. Obviously, they go ahead and win the NBA Finals. I believe they were down 2-0 to the Bucks the next series, too, and still found a way to came back and I believe won 4 straight wins. But that's the biggest difference to me is that this team is more like that 2019 because they actually have a shot. This team's real. Right. When you have a legit number 2 star in James Harden that can go out there and have a game like that, but more importantly, be consistent and be good more times than not and be able to still hit big shots for you in the fourth quarter, then you have a realistic shot. And that was that 2019 team. So that's the biggest difference to me is this team has a legit chance like that 2019 team.
Very much so. This team is not comparable in style to that 2019, but they're comparable in ceiling. And the ceiling is Larry O'Brien. It's a NBA Finals win. That's what the ceiling is for the Sixers team. If you didn't believe it last weekend when we talked to you, if you haven't believed it to this point, last night should show you what you and I already saw, but what I understand if you haven't to this point because of how you view the Sixers and the second round hurdle they can't get over. But last night shows you they're good enough to win it all. They are. Will they? I don't know, but they are talented enough. They have the horses. They have every shot in the Eastern Conference that Milwaukee does, that Boston does, any team out of the West. This team can do it.
They can. I'll be honest.
You don't think they will?
No, I think they have a really good chance. Me and you have been relatively positive when it comes to the Sixers team. Like I just said, if they have a fighting chance in a series, a realistic fighting chance, that's all I can ask for at this point. It's a matter of what comes down, what happens in the actual series, because it's tough to win series in the NBA. But, man, people that are out on this team, no regular season game is going to change their mind. Nothing. That the same people, or I think a majority of people that were out last week and outraged after that loss to Boston are still going to be out on this team until the regular season is over, until they prove it, in the playoffs. No regular season game is going to change the people that are out their mind. It's just not going to happen. I say it all the time. It's very similar to the Phillies before last season. Like, hey, I'm not buying into this team until they give me a reason to. And until this team is out of the second round, the people that are out are always going to be out.
Right. And that's the thing, right? I'm not going to fault you for having that mentality with the Philadelphia 76ers because I understand it. I get it. It's a valid concern. I'm not at that point. I'm not going to have that mentality because I believe this team is talented enough to do that. And as long as I see that the talent level is there, it's what I talked about with the Phillies. Good point bringing up the Phillies. It's what I talked about with them all year last year, through the Joe Girardi stuff, through the Bryce Harper injury, through the struggles late with the Milwaukee Brewers almost chasing them down for that final wild card spot. I said, look at the roster, read the names. Tell me if it sounds like a talented enough team to make the playoffs. It did the whole way, and they did, and they went to the World Series. Look at this roster. Look at the names. Joel Embiid, James Harden, one of the best duos in the NBA. Tyrese Maxey, incredible when he starts, and he's come out of that funk a little bit. Tobias Harris, I know how we feel about Tobias and the contract and everything. A good enough piece to be part of a starting lineup on a championship team. PJ Tucker, he's a proven winner. Like, he's a guy that's been there before. And the bench has pieces. DeAnthony Melton is a nice piece. Paul Reed, if he gets a little bit more polish over the next, what do they have, 19 games remaining?
Yes, 19. Yep.
Can be a solid athletic backup option to Joel Embiid. I just look at this team and I say there's no reason, skill level-wise, why they can't win it all. Competition-wise and who they're up against, you can make that argument. Second-round exit, Doc Rivers, all this stuff, not adding at the trade deadline, fine. If you view it that way, that's fine. And I can't fault you until, like you said, Tom, they prove it that they can get out of the second round. But I just look at this team and I say, I know those players are talented enough. They've just got to put it all together.
Yeah, and it's so funny because as the game's going on last night, like obviously when we know we have a show to do in the morning, you're planning your show as the game's going on, right? So obviously as sports fans, we're reacting to every single second of every single game, obviously. Majority of that game, I'm thinking, all right, this show's going to go this way. We're going to have to talk about this. And then Sixers end up finding a way to pull it out, and they have a tremendous win. Some could say the best win of the season, and we're having a much different show than maybe we would have thought 3 quarters through that game. But as the game was going on, a couple things stuck out to me, and you are absolutely correct, and I believe we are correct when it comes to when you need your stars to step up in the biggest moments in the NBA, in the playoffs, to have a realistic chance, and that's true. And you need the bench pieces, you need everything. There's going to be a couple keys to this team making a run, and one of them is Tobias Harris, who you mentioned, and it's a player that you could see realistically on a championship-type winning team, an important piece of that team. If he can give you the consistency he gave last year's playoffs, because some would argue, and I think would be correct, that he was the most consistent player on that team last season through the run, in the playoffs throughout the run.
Yeah, he was very good in the playoffs last year.
If he can give you that, if he can be above average and not be 2 points, 1 for 4 from the field. I understand last night he didn't play and he left with an injury and everything like that, but we still see times where it's like it happened after the Boston game where Boston, he scores 19 points, I believe it was. He looked tremendous, played great defense on a guy like Jason Tatum, and then the next game I think he had 4 points and he was 1 for 4 from the field. Like, that can't happen. If you can get a consistent Tobias Harris, he could be a potential massive key for this team going forward. And there's going to be a ton of keys. Joel Embiid, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, obviously, but like that's the one where it's like he needs to pick up that consistent
I need like
play.
15 and 5 from Tobias.
And if you're not scoring, which you can never have like 4 shots. PJ Tucker can never outscore Tobias Harris. I said it after the game.
Correct.
After the Boston game, whatever it was, the one after that. I forget at the top of my head. But if he can give you consistency, and if there's nights where his shot is not falling, can he do the little things? Can it be defensively? Can it be rebounding? Can it be a couple assists here or there, effort, whatever it may be? He is going to be a huge key going forward, and we're going to see, obviously, with the injury update. I think Doc said Tucker and Harris are unlikely to play tomorrow night, but a lot of keys going forward with this Sixers team. But you're right, it feels like a championship-type team, at least to us, still.
610-632-0975. A lot of good Sixers talk going on following their win over the Milwaukee Bucks last night. Great comeback win with a strong fourth quarter out of James Harden and Joel Embiid, just looking absolutely dominant out there. It was a great win. I want to hear what the people have to say about it. Let's open up the phone line and start with Drew in Westchester. Drew, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yo, what's up, Connor? Tom, how you guys doing, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
You guys are killing me a little bit earlier. You made me feel old at first because you're saying, probably no one listening remembers the last time the Sixers.
I said like half of the people listening. I didn't say no one.
You didn't say half. You said basically no one. But, man, I was only 6 years old, granted. But
see, that doesn't count then, Drew. That doesn't count.
It does count. I was 6. I remember it quite well because Julius Erving, Dr. J, wore number 6. So little Drew thought that was the coolest thing being 6 years old, that Dr. J wore number 6. So I remember very well, my friend. So
I got you.
You got to give it to me.
Fair.
And then with the whole winter thing, I'm a huge winter fan. I love winter because you're talking, football playoffs are getting ready to start. I mean, hockey's in full swing. I played hockey, so for me, it was always kind of like a really busy time of the year because I was living in hockey rinks. So
yeah,
maybe I'm just weird like that.
No, I got you. It's a preference. I think anyone who's a winter person is crazy, but hey, you're entitled. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. So, what do you have on the win last night? You think it was a statement win?
What a win, dude! I mean, that's why you don't turn games off early like that because I was kind of like my finger was on the button. I was almost like, oh man, this game's blown. We're not gonna, it's gonna be just a complete bust. And I stuck with them, and I was just pleasantly surprised that they came back, pulled that off, and like you guys were saying, we're not going to see Harden perform like that every game, but I just want to enjoy this win now. Don't bring me down. Like I know it's going to be a long, tough road in the playoffs, but I just want to enjoy this one. It was a great comeback win, and hopefully we see more of that these last 19 games and go into the playoffs fresh, strong, healthy, and get out of the second round and make a run at this thing this year, guys.
Dude, that'd be great, Drew. Man, that'd be great. From your lips to Doc Rivers and God's ears, appreciate the call, man. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And Drew brought up a great point that I need to say for anyone who was feeling like Drew last night and feels like that over the course of the game, the finger on the button, ready to flip over to HGTV and watch Flip This House or whatever you're going to do. Remember, like the game against Boston, tight down to the end. The game against the Mavericks, the Sixers were getting smoked, and they make a run, at it and make it close at the end. I understand you end up not winning that game, but this team's never dead. They might come up short and end up losing games, but it's very rare that this team lays down and dies, which is another thing that looks really good on a resume of a team that wants to be a championship winner.
And there's been a couple games down this stretch where I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do they win this game last year? And a couple times the answer has been no. Like last night, I don't think they win that game last year where they're on the road, where a team just wins 16 straight and you're struggling the entire game, down double digits a majority of the second half. They don't find a way to win that game, where they get it close maybe, but Milwaukee finds a way to win. Last year, I don't know if that's the case potentially. Memphis, they were down big that game as well. Another tough stretch, down this tough stretch, and they find a way to win. Even Cleveland in a different style type game where they were up big on Cleveland that entire game. And listen, it's a game of runs. We just saw it last night with the Sixers and the Bucks. Doesn't matter who you're playing. The NBA is a game of runs where Cleveland fights back, they chip back, and that game's like within 3 points, I believe, in the fourth quarter, even though they're up 26 points. That's a game last year where potentially they lose that game and they found a way to win. And maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm just drinking a little bit of the blue and red Kool-Aid, whatever it may be, but this team to me just feels a little bit different. It does. Last year, I never truly was bought into that Sixers team because of the way James Harden was playing down the stretch. Right. And then obviously the injury happens with Joel Embiid. But this team, I am bought into. And it feels like we're in the minority a little bit, but I think there are people out there that share our same thought process there.
Do they make blue Kool-Aid? Is that a thing? I've never seen that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've only ever seen the classic red.
Yeah, I think they do like purple. I think they do a little bit of everything.
Okay, I don't know.
You like Kool-Aid?
I'm not a Kool-Aid's man, really.
Okay.
I don't do the sugary drinks.
Try not to.
I'm basically water and alcohol are my only two beverages.
Healthy.
Yeah,
Nice.
Exactly. Life's about balance, okay? Drink like a gallon of water, and I go out and drink a gallon of tequila, and we call it even.
Yes, whatever you say. Very smart.
What do you do? 610-632-0975. Let's talk to Scott in Wynwood next. Scott, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. Hey, so anyway, I was listening to you guys talk, and it said a lot of, on paper, they have enough talent to win. On paper, they have enough talent to get past the second round.
Right.
And at some point, we all have to look in the mirror and say, yeah, on paper, they have enough. It comes down to Doc Rivers. At some point, we all have to look around and say, what's the issue here? And I can't find another issue other than Doc Rivers. And I wish that wasn't the case. I pull for the guy, but consistently, he can't get us through. He can get us through one game. He can't get us through a series.
See, Scott, you're not wrong. And I'll give you your time. I just want to say you're not wrong with that assessment of Doc Rivers and what he's done here, what he did in Los Angeles with the Clippers. Like, you're not. He hasn't shown you differently. What I will say is that he's a guy with a championship on his resume, even though it was back in 2008. And he's a guy that's very well respected, has won a lot of games, one of the winningest coaches of all time. I'm not here to totally defend Doc Rivers. And I don't think you're wrong to feel that way. I'm just saying every year can be different. It's not a guarantee that he's going to be that guy again. So I wouldn't go into this run resigned to the fact that Doc Rivers is going to be the problem with this team. He could be. He has been in the past because of the way he's coached, but I don't think it's a guarantee that he's that guy again, and you got to be worrying about, oh, no, when does Doc come in? It's something to watch, but not something to say, oh, it's definitely going to be him who costs them.
Well, I see it differently. I mean, if you take a look at it, you know what you're going to get out of Joel if he's healthy. You know what you're going to get out of Tobias or Rivers or I mean Tyrese Maxey,
right.
Even Harden. You at this point you really know what you're going to get out of those guys, and so it comes down to Doc Rivers. And again, Doc Rivers consistently year in year out gets outcoached in these series. When it gets to player for player and the rosters are equal enough, it comes down to that coach. And I wish I was wrong, but history repeats itself, and you say it's a new year. It's not a new year. He's the same guy. And we're going to have the same experience unless we have somebody who changes things up. And if I was Joel Embiid, my career is going by, I would be pissed off right now because I should have had one, maybe two championships. He has none, and he's not going to get one this year with Doc Rivers.
Scott, I appreciate the call, man. Listen, I don't like how definitive Scott's being. I just don't. It's like It's very much the Doc Rivers conversation that we were having there is very much like the Joel Embiid is always injured conversation. Like, yeah, if you look historically, are you technically right? Yes, there's no guarantee he's going to get hurt this year. Like, there's no guarantee that you're going to get to a second-round series and Doc Rivers is going to cost you. He's not terrible. Like, I think people look at a frustrating coaching style. It's similar to the Jonathan Gannon thing, actually, you know? It's very similar to that. It's a frustrating coaching style at points. But it doesn't make them a terrible overall coach. Like, Doc Rivers is a good head coach in the NBA and has been for a long time. So I can't definitively say, well, Doc Rivers is going to cost them. They can't win with Doc Rivers, this, that, and the other thing. They can. He's got a championship. I'm not the biggest Doc Rivers fan. I know this might make me sound like I am, but I can't go in saying, well, there's no way they can win because of this coach.
No, I feel the same way. And again, I'm a person that did not want Doc back this year after the way that last year ended. Personally, he was brought back. I realized that he wasn't getting fired in season. There wasn't going to be a change in season unless things completely bottomed out, which they didn't. And Doc Rivers is a guy that we love to bash on here in Philadelphia. And there's those coaches out there, whether it's Jim Schwartz, whether it's Brett Brown for a little while, Jonathan Gannon, as you mentioned, Doc Rivers, Joe Girardi. There's always those guys that we want to to bash on here in Philadelphia. When it comes down to it, I think Doc's been pretty good this year. He has. He won Coach of the Month last month. They were 12-12 to start the season. They're what right now? 41-22. That's pretty good, and especially a lot of that run early in the season without James Harden for a little while, without Tyrese Maxey. Like, yes, I still have worries about Doc Rivers when it comes to being outcoached in a playoff series. Yes, his rotations still question me at times when it comes to Doc Rivers. But if they lose a series to the Milwaukee Bucks, am I going to be thinking to myself, man, Doc Rivers lost in that series? Probably not. I'm probably going to be thinking, no, you got outplayed by Drew Holiday and Giannis Antetokounmpo outplayed James Harden and Joel Embiid. That's what it came down to. And when I look at past series, was Doc Rivers the main reason they lost against Atlanta? Or is it because your second star shot, 4 times in the fourth quarter in the last 4 games? He has a part in it.
Yeah.
But what is a bigger deal? Your second star shooting 4 times in the fourth quarter in 4 straight games, or your coach? Last year, I look at, what was the reason they lost? Was it because of Doc Rivers? Did he have a part in it? Yes, absolutely. But was it because that Joel Embiid was hurt and James Harden were outplayed by guys like Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler? So when it comes down to it, yes, the coach absolutely is important. And he is getting fired if they do not make it to the finals this year.
Well, no. If they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, Doc Rivers is not getting fired. He's not.
We'll see. This is a make or break year for a lot of people. A lot of people.
Yeah,
and your
sure.
biggest thing is keeping Joel Embiid here, because we hear it. If things don't end well, we know he's in his prime. He only has so many years left as a big center, a guy who's 7'2", 270, or whatever he may be. So I think everything has to be on the table. I'll say that. I won't say a definite, but I think everything has to be on the table. When it comes down to it, the stars matter so much more in a 7-game series in the playoffs, in the Eastern Conference Finals and Eastern Conference semis than the coach. Yes, he has a big part.
For sure.
But when it comes down to it, if your stars get outplayed, you're probably going to lose that series.
That's the thing, right? I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that Doc Rivers can't be the reason they lose a series. He could be.
The number one reason.
He could be the number one reason why they lose a series. I know what you're saying. Like, the coach,
and I think people share your same mindset. To me, I think it's more about the stars. I think he could have a huge part, but for me to say he's the number one reason that the team lost the series, I don't know if I could go there.
Yeah, and there's arguments on both sides. My point is, I hate the definitive, they're not making it out of the second round. Doc Rivers, they can't win with him. Joel Embiid is always going to be hurt. James Harden is old and he's cooked and there's no way they can win with him. There's opportunity here. And when you say definitive things like Scott was just saying, where they can't win with Doc Rivers, you're selling yourself short from enjoying this run. You're selling this team short from the opportunity that they should earn, being that they are a championship level contender, and you're really not buying into this team to the level that you should be. I'm not saying trust Doc Rivers blindly. I'm not saying he can't be the reason that they end up losing a series. But what I'm saying is, when you use definitives like that, when you use absolutes, you're cutting yourself short from what should be a really fun playoff basketball run for the Sixers team. And they've played well enough to deserve more from you as a fan base than that. 610-632-0975. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord here on The Fanatic. And coming up, I got to crush some dreams. I'm sorry. We're going to talk a little NFL draft, and I got some bad news for some people out there who want the Eagles to do a certain thing. We'll also continue our conversation on the Sixers with a big win last night and big expectations Obviously, great expectations, some may say, as far as great books and great basketball teams. But that is what we have on the docket, and we will be right back after this quick break. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Joe Conklin. Bet on sports right now with the BetPark Sportsbook and Casino app. It's the official sportsbook of the die-hard Philly sports fans. Safe, secure, and easy to use. It's the only sportsbook and casino app I recommend. Bet pro and college hoops, hockey, golf, MMA, soccer, and more. Join me now. New users bet $10 and get $125 in sports bonus if your first bet wins. Download now and get in on the action. The BetPark Sportsbook and Casino app. Must be 21 and older and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. New users and winning bets only. Terms and conditions apply. See betparks.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Parks Casino. This is how you win. It's time for live music. It's time to dance. It's time to visit Parks Casino, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. Get into 360 for the best local bands and live entertainment. Friday, March 10th, it's the Amish Outlaws. Saturday, March 11th, Sidearm takes the stage. Plus Joe Conklin's Comedy Night every other Thursday night. Follow on social or at parkscasino.com. Parks Casino. This is how you win. 21 gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, Sarah. I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't help that gas prices have skyrocketed. I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
Everyone's talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, real cash every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
I've made around $200 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN60 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN60 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code EARN60 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Spring training isn't just for baseball players with the warmer weather around the corner. It's time for you to get into shape, too. This is cuz with NJ Diet's contractually guaranteed program, you're going to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days. That's right, 40 days to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds and start feeling good, and it's guaranteed. NJ Diet's program starts with personalized supplements based on your hair and saliva and blood work. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet plan and workout regimen to help you keep the weight off. 40 days to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds is a real thing with NJ Diet. They're with you every step of the way. You're fully monitored by their certified staff the entire time. You'll get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Schedule your consult today for contractually guaranteed weight loss. Offices in Cherry Hill, King of Prussia, Newark, Delaware. Live online video consultations from home as well. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com and lose the weight for good.
Hi, honey. Happy first day back at work. Can't wait to see you tonight. We are so proud of you.
Daddy, we love you.
There are many reasons to start recovery. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, we are here to help. Call us. Our trained counselors are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. Your recovery is within reach. Call 844-REACH-NJ to learn about medication that can support your recovery. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Guys, is everyone getting lucky on St. Patrick's Day but you? Don't bury your head in corned beef. Schedule a free consultation now at Iron Mountain Men's Health. Hi, this is Dr. Avi Donapel, founder of Iron Mountain Men's Health. My team of physicians will create a custom program to treat your ED and low T that's safe, affordable, and effective. This March, it's time to make your own luck, starting with your free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. Iron Mountain Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
The Amy's Kisses 9th Annual Walk to Remember will be held on Sunday, May 21st at 9 a.m. at Tyler State Park in Richboro, PA, rain or shine. In October of 2011, Amy Perez and her children Molly and Gregory were murdered at the hands of their husband and father. Amy's Kisses is a nonprofit 501c3 founded by Amy's sister Jill Perez-Gabora in order to carry out their legacy by offering kisses of opportunity to students. Please go to amyskisses.org to register or call 215-917-1183 for more information.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
And Doug. Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hello? Whether you're at home or on the go, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic on Odyssey on your smartphone, Roku, LG Smart TV, Waze, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now. WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Philadelphia Union Soccer, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
I like this song. I don't know who it is.
You don't know this song?
No. No, I like it, though.
You've never heard this song?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure I've heard it at some point. Is it a popular song?
Yes.
Who's it by?
Foo Fighters.
Okay.
Everlong.
I know the Foo Fighters.
It's probably their biggest song.
Is it really?
Like, maybe not their biggest radio song. It's on the radio, but it's probably their most
it's on the radio
famous
right
song.
now, dude.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. That's correct.
Actually correct.
Good
Tom
job by
Alvord.
you.
Okay. No, listen, I'm not a huge rock guy. My dad was really into classic rock. So, well, I guess it was to him, it was just rock.
Just
but
rock.
to me,
It
was classic rock. So my dad loved that, and we listen to that on the radio all the time. But I don't know. I never totally got into it, and I never really stuck with it. It's not my bread and butter. So shout out to Foo Fighters.
There you
Dave
go.
Grohl, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, there we go. I got a little
Who was he the
something,
drummer of?
I almost said Nirvana.
That's correct. Nirvana.
Yeah. Was I right?
Yeah, you're
let's
right.
go, baby.
Yeah. Don't question yourself.
That's right. Nirvana also not my scene, but I mean, like, I think I missed them by a couple years. I think if I was born,
They were bigger in like the late 90s.
Yeah, if I was born in like 90, I would have been in.
You weren't
Nirvana
listening to grunge when you were 5 years old? Grunge rock?
Not really. No.
Okay, fair.
No, it wasn't really my cup of tea back then. Young Connor was not.
That's fair.
Ripping the grunge on the radio. 610-632-0975. Going to stick with the Sixers conversation a little bit. I'm going to talk a little Eagles draft coming up too, and I got to crush some souls. But Tom, we have to get into this airport conversation because you were fired up about something that happened. You were traveling this weekend.
Yes.
Went to a wedding.
Yes.
Down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Rouge. Yes, sir.
Good old Baton Rouge. And what's your beef with the airport or people in the airport?
Yes. So, well, first of all, shout out to Andrew Myers and Morgan Alvord for getting married this weekend. Love you guys. We went down for like 4 days, whatever it was, traveling. We don't travel a ton because, we don't get a ton of vacation time, ton of time off here, which is fine. Whatever. We work hard. I like working hard. But when it comes down to it, when you get opportunities, of course, you want to travel. And it's one of my good friends. So we went down for his wedding, gone a couple days. And the airport reminded me of how much people can annoy me sometimes. Like I like to think of myself as a people person. We talk to people every day. I like to think of myself as a pretty patient person as well. But sometimes, man, like I don't have a patience for stupidity. And I think there is a lot of stupidity in airports. And dude, it was just firing on all cylinders on my trip there and my trip back. And it's people standing in the middle of like the runway or something like that, just like in people's way. It's people that are in row 30 as soon as the plane lands, running up to the front of the plane like, hey, there's 30 people in front of you. It's not your turn. It's the guy who was sitting next to me, was sitting next to my girlfriend, who not only took his phone off airplane mode like when we landed and everything like that, but when we were still in air, He made a phone call when we were in the middle of the air. Yes, it was when we were kind of descending.
How do you even have service?
I don't know. But who does that? Who does that? Where, listen, I understand, technology is great. You probably can make phone calls. It's obvious he did. But we're tens of thousands of feet off the air. You know you're supposed to have airplane mode on, and the dude makes a phone call in the middle of the flight.
But why do you have to have airplane mode on? What's the point of that?
Because the captain tells me I have to, dude. Listen to the captain.
Who's the captain? Was he a cell phone expert? Just fly the plane.
He's a plane expert.
Fly the plane.
And he
let me stream my music.
If he doesn't want the airplane mode to be on until we land, then I'm probably going to listen to the dude who's in charge of my life.
One phone's not in airplane mode?
Not only did the guy next to my girlfriend do that, there's a point in the middle of the flight where obviously in front of you, you're in a seat, and in front of you is a seat. There's a little area to put your bag and to put your legs. At one point, my girlfriend turns to me and she goes, "Look at his legs." His legs are in my girlfriend's underneath her seat in front of her.
That's
completely in hers. And it's different if I'm doing it because we live together. She is my girlfriend. But, dude, it just brings out the worst in people at the airport, and it frustrates me to beyond no other. So I would love to hear some of the worst airport stories, because I feel like a guy making a call tens of thousands of feet in the air and then immediately putting your feet in not your seat, underneath not your seat, is right up there with them. But like I said, I try and be a patient person. I try and believe in people. And in there, it just brings out the absolute worst in the airport, dude. I can't stand it.
I love the airport.
Why?
Love the airport.
I hate it.
It's one of my favorite places in the world.
That's weird.
Because the airport, it's ironic because of all the laws and everything and regulation and all the stuff that you have to go through with the TSA and everything there. But the airport is it's what you're saying. It's lawless. You get in the airport and it's timeless and it's lawless. And it's just kind of this purgatory where it could be any time and you could sit down at a bar and have a beer and it doesn't matter.
Well, that part's great. It's like to be 6:30 a.m., but you're having a beer because it's in the airport.
Exactly. There's so many stores to walk through and do random stuff. You could just wander around. You could people watch. It's just now. What I will say is, anytime you get a large collection of humanity together, you see how stupid people.
Yes.
And this is not. I'm not being holier than thou. No, I'm stupid as well. I'm a dumb person. So as a dumb person, I could say that the average person out there is pretty dumb. We all are. It's just kind of one of the natures of being a human being.
There's a part of everybody that is a little bit dumb.
Exactly.
Yes.
And in the airport, sometimes you just get that weird concoction of a bunch of people and their dumb all comes out and weird stuff happens. But I love the airport because I may get there 2 hours ahead of my flight guy and just go to a bar and sit down.
Just hang out.
Just have a beer. My vacation starts the second I get through security.
Yep.
A lot of people are like, oh, my vacation starts when the plane gets to my destination. No, you're not doing it right then. You've got to party from the second that you get through security, set your bag down, get the phone charger, and just hang out, have a couple beverages, enjoy yourself, get some food on the flight. I love the airport because it's just kind of, to me, there's no responsibility in the airport. All you have to do one thing. You have to be at your gate on time. Once you get through security, you can just kind of sit there and do whatever. So I absolutely love the airport.
I could not disagree more. Excuse me. That's how you say that. That's words.
We're all over the place.
Could not disagree more. I can't stand the airport and people in the airport.
Now, we've got an airport expert. Ray Dunn flies a lot with the Temple women's basketball team. Has been doing a lot. You got one more trip. You're flying tonight, right?
Tonight. Big 6:30 flight.
Busy guy
I'll be there early enough to have a nice cold one.
You're heading to Fort Worth, Texas.
That's right.
There you go. You going to wear your 10-gallon hat?
I'm leaving the cowboy hat here.
Smart move.
Okay. So you fly a lot. Are you an airport person? Do you enjoy the airport, or are you like Tom where you loathe going through the airport?
I've learned to love it. Where it's one of those things where I'm going to be here, I might as well make a time out of this. So a little walk around, find some food, find a nice cold beverage, enjoy my stay there, because there's been a number, when I started, I was like, it's the airport, this kind of stinks. But now it's I'm going to be here, I might as well make an event out of it and enjoy it.
Yeah,
so
I love traveling. I love the airport. I like flying.
Traveling's great.
Yeah.
The whole process of doing the traveling is the problem.
No, I love that. Well, that's one of my favorite parts of traveling.
Well, now I'm starting to learn to love the process because...
Trust the process.
Yeah.
You got to fall in love with the process. That's all the great ones know. You fall in love with the process.
That's right.
Mike Tone on Twitter. How about when people pile up at the gate to get on the plane, which drives me crazy. Yep. There is a line around the hallway, whatever it may be, 100 people deep. Nowhere even close to being there, and there's seats open right next to it where you could be sitting and be fine, and people pile up, and it's just an absolute bleep show. Yes, that is a good one, Mike. He shares my thought process.
I see. You got to know how to handle the airport. Also, the funny thing is getting older. You remember as a kid when you traveled, like your dad always wanted to get to the airport like 2 hours ahead of time or 3 hours ahead of time. It's like, get there early,
Like 3 hours,
get there
yes.
early, get there early. And I get it now because you could just sit down and just not have to worry about taking care of anything or going anywhere or dragging your kids places or dealing with other people. You can just kind of sit there in your own little world in the airport where time
Stress-free.
doesn't exist. Exactly. And you can't let other people stress you out because the airport is a beautiful place.
There's one airport that I'm anti.
Okay, see, I don't get this because to me, every airport's basically a wash.
No.
sell
I'm not
beer?
talking about
Do you
the
have planes?
four walls. I'm talking about the actual environment.
What is it?
Orlando.
Why?
Incredibly, because if you're flying out of Orlando, you are flying with the kids that are exhausted from Disney and
True.
Universal.
Fair point.
And the flight home from Orlando, this is a personal experience now. This is me getting a little upset. Tom, I had a moment just like you where I was very upset. Flying home from Orlando was awful because once they're starting to get tired of being in the air, the kids realize they're going home. Their only mouse that they will see once they get back is one they do not want to be anywhere near them. They are crying, they're yelling, they're fighting with their siblings. Flying out of Orlando is a disaster. And they're all sick. Somehow, every single one of them's coughing. Every single one of those kids is sick.
That sounds right. Yes,
it's a disaster.
Ray Dunn, anti-kid. Nice to know.
Kids.
Wow.
That's
Ray
not,
Dunn
that's
hates
not
kids.
all
buddy.
No,
great.
that's not. All right, I'll just turn the mic off.
Thank
Be
you.
quiet.
Means a lot.
Appreciate it, Ray. I will give you my one airport story that drove me insane. And this wasn't this person's fault. It was more the airline's fault. So there was one time where I was in the emergency exit row. And, you know, you get a little bit of extra leg room in the emergency exit row. It's great. They ask you the question, are you willing to help in an emergency? Which everybody always says yes to. Like, I don't know that anyone in the history of ever has said no. So you get moved. And I'm sitting there, and I'm in the middle seat. And there was a guy in the window seat, and the aisle seat was empty. I was like, oh, my goodness, let's go. And, you know, when you've got an empty seat next to you and you're flying solo, you're like, you're watching the people walk by, and you're seeing them eye up the seat. I'm like, please don't be here. Please don't be here. Pretty girl walks on. You're like, hey, you can have the seat.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not her. But everyone, you're like, please don't sit in this seat. And the plane gets boarded, and they ask us if we're good being in the exit row, and they go through all that, and we're like, okay, great. I got an open seat next to me for this flight. I think I might have been going to Vegas or something. It was a long flight. And they go ahead and had a passenger ask to be moved, needed a different seat. And I turn over my shoulder because I hear the stewardess talking to this guy. And God bless him, he's 400 plus, like a big boy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know exactly where this guy's going.
Yep.
And they tell him he can move seats, and they walk him up to the exit row, and they put him in the seat next to me. And I went from nothing to having a mountain of a man taking up all my leg room. An absolute killer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I was so close.
So close.
So close. That's the airport for you, though. And that's airlines.
It drives me crazy.
If you have a good airport story, feel free to share it. 610-632-0975. Let's get back into the sports conversation. Let's go to Kenny in South Philly who wants to talk a little Sixers. Kenny, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Huge
Doing
fan.
great.
You know, anyway, before I get to my 2 points, I'm like Connor. I love the airport because I'm a people watcher.
Yeah, love it, right?
I love it. But in fairness, what I hate is about when I get on the plane and these people bring the food and the aromas of the food. Oh, my God.
Like bringing seafood or ribs.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
potent smelling.
onions and all of that. I mean, I love onions, but come on. That's the part.
Not on an airplane.
Yeah, you got to go no odor food. You can go chips, you can go a little bit of candy, but you can't be bringing like fish on an airplane. You should be on the no-fly list if you bring fish on an airplane.
Come on.
Exactly.
Anyway,
I agree with you, Kenny.
Before I get to the Sixers, what do you guys know about Andrew Painter and the soreness?
Nothing crazy yet. I haven't seen anything
No
really.
update as of yesterday from Thompson. Hopefully we get one today or tomorrow.
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
So I wouldn't be overly concerned about a significant miss in time. The only issue with Painter, not to get too much on that, but the only issue with Painter is if he misses a week, misses 2 weeks, that really hurts his chances of being on the opening day roster because they're not going to push him. So that's the biggest concern.
Okay. As far as the Sixers, the awesome win last night. I mean, I was on the, I was cheering like I usually do. And I'm one of the guys that I don't blame Doc for everything. I don't blame him for a lot of the losses. And last night, do we blame him for the win? I mean, the guys won the game. I mean, Harden's playing like he's 24 years old. I mean, come on. I mean, these guys are on fire. So I'm just so happy. And Boston lost the other night, which moves us up a little bit. So I'm just excited for them and can't wait for this week. I'm just hoping these couple injuries are not going to hurt him that much. And thank God Maxey's back starting. I'm happy about that too. What do you think?
Listen, Kenny, you nailed it all, man. I appreciate the call.
Thanks, Ken.
Appreciate the time on this Sunday morning. Yeah, they're playing really well right now. I know they've had a couple of tough losses, but with the Mavericks game, the Boston game, but that's kind of the nature of the schedule right now. Tough, long road trip. It is what it is, but they're playing as well as they can be, and last night was a huge win. How concerned are you, because Kenny brought it up, about the injuries to Tobias Harris and P.J. Tucker, what we're looking at there?
Because I feel like Tobias has been banged up a little bit this entire season. He hasn't missed a ton of time, but I feel like it's the natural wear and tear of the season is starting to catch up to him a bit. Like I said, I don't believe that they're going to, Doc Rivers believes that they're probably not going to play tomorrow. The fact that he doesn't seem too overly concerned, I'm not going to be too overly concerned. When it comes to PJ Tucker, though, as much as people like to bash on him and everything like that, and I think he's one of those guys, and I think you tend to agree that come playoff time, we're gonna see the reason that this signing was made.
I'm trusting people who know basketball better than me when they tell me that.
And I think we are starting to see it a little bit. We're starting to see better games. He had, 16 rebounds against Boston, I think. He had one game where he was over double digits, which I know was crazy. A guy making, $13 million over double digits. Crazy, but he's doing the little things, the effort, offensive rebounding, defending, everything like that. But this is still a guy who's 37 years old. Like, the injuries late in the season, that's going to worry me a little bit. How close to 100% is this going to be? A guy like Maxey, 24 years old, running like crazy, a little banged up injury here or there, I'm not overly concerned with because the kid's 24 years old. Guy like P.J. Tucker, 37 years old, that worries me a little bit. But as a whole, until I'm given a reason to be worried, I'm not overly concerned with the injuries to Tobias Harris and P.J. Tucker at this moment.
Yeah, I think that's where you should be. I think that's a very measured approach to it, and that's basically where I'm standing as well. Now, Tom, we have something coming up that we do here every year, 97.5 The Fanatic. And this is a special event to you because you are the defending Fanatic champion.
That's right.
In our knockout. Now, Fanatic Knockout is back. You can win a pair of tickets to the Sixers-Mavs game on Wednesday, March 29th. You know it's going to be a good game. See Luka Doncic. You see Kyrie Irving. They both dropped 40 on the Sixers in the game this past week.
Little revenge game for the Sixers?
Yeah, an opportunity to see them at home, and it's going to be a great contest there. And then, so that game is on Wednesday, March 29th. Then head down on the court after the game and play a round of knockout. You listen all next week for your chance to win, brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, your Delaware Valley Train heating and air conditioning distributor. Visit Train.com to find a Train HVAC dealer near you. A great event. I didn't have my best showing. You had a great showing.
Thank you.
So we got to see if you can defend your Fanatic title. I'm going to be working on my free throws a little bit.
So I normally I normally engineer the Sixers games during the week.
Right.
I have to defend my title, right?
You got to find a way to get
off. So, Coach, if you're listening, I have to have off that day because I have to defend my title. Dude, it was a little nerve-wracking going on.
Yeah,
you're on the Wells Fargo Center court and everything like that. Like, there's no fans at that point other than, like, the people you're with. But, man, stepping on that court, it's nerve-wracking, that's for sure.
You always hear about the big buildings, like the big arenas. Like when they play a college basketball game in, like, a football stadium. It takes a second to get adjusted to shooting because the perspective of the background is so different. Man, if you've never played in an arena like that or a big venue playing basketball, it is different. It can be intimidating, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really, really fun event. And there's everyone out there from like 60-year-olds to 10-year-olds. It's just people bring their family, their friends. It's a great time to go ahead and play knockout, a great event. So go ahead and try and win your tickets this week coming up.
You're feeling more confident this year for yourself?
No, and I'll tell you
I was
why.
disappointed by your showing last year.
Well,
I was.
Here's what it is. First of all, I didn't shoot well. It wasn't my best night. I might have had 6 or 7 beers ahead of it, which may have contributed.
Excuses.
But what knockout is, you can absolutely target people in knockout. And we know the reputation I have around the station, and you know the reputation I have with the listeners talking about my athletic prowess.
Yes.
I'm absolutely always going to be someone who's targeted in knockout.
Correct.
People are going to want to get me out. Now, take Ray Dunn, for example. Ray doesn't talk about his athleticism ever or anything. He's going to go out there, and people are going to be like, oh, that's Ray. And they're just going to play normally. For me, I got a target on my back, always. So that makes it tough for me to exist in a game like knockout. I'm going to try and persevere, but It's not going to be easy.
I just hope you do better than last year. That's all I got to say.
Well, now you got a target on your back, too. So you'll see what I'm talking about.
I'm always ready.
Okay. We'll see how that plays out. Now, let's get into a little bit of Eagles draft talk here real quick because I have to ruin some people's day. And I'm sorry if you're one of these people. This is not me. This is the Eagles. So don't get mad at me. Talk to Howie Roseman. Talk to the Philadelphia Eagles. Talk to the way that they draft. I've been seeing it on social media. I've been hearing it from my buddies who are looking forward to the draft and guys available. I can't tell you for sure what the Eagles are going to do at or with the number 10 overall pick. I'm not going to definitively say right now they're staying there and they're drafting this guy or they're trading that pick back to this place. We don't know to this point. I'll tell you what they're not going to do. First of all, they're not taking Bijan Robinson at 10. They're not. If they trade back or if they use their later first-round pick, maybe, possibly. I don't think he'll fall that far because I think he's talented enough. Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. Incredible, incredible athlete. Maybe the most impactful offensive player in this draft, including quarterbacks. He's that good. This is Adrian Peterson coming out of Oklahoma level of dominance from him. He's incredible.
This is a really good running back class, and he is far and away number one in this class. That's how good he is.
Exactly. He's awesome. If you want him in Eagles green, it's going to have to be later than 10 because the Eagles are not using the number 10 overall pick on a running back regardless of how good they are.
They better not.
Joey Porter Jr. The Eagles are not drafting him at 10. They're not going to take a cornerback at 10. They're just not. They build through the trenches. If the Philadelphia Eagles are going to draft a player at 10, it's not going to be a skill position guy. Now, could they trade back to 15 and get him? Sure. Could they trade back to 20 if he's still there and get him? I don't think he'll be there that late. But if they trade back, anything's on the table. They're not going to draft this guy at 10. They're not.
This guy or a cornerback in general?
The cornerback in general.
So
they don't do it. They don't.
Historically, they do not. You are absolutely correct. I think there's certain instances where, yes, they obviously build through the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, that is true. But when your team has certain needs and there's that high quality of a player who's high on your draft board there, and you're seeing a run of quarterbacks and everything like that, and maybe the top two guys in Anderson and Jalen Carter aren't there. Jalen Carter, a whole different story. We're not going to get into that. But I can't – you said last segment how you don't like definitive no's, and this is not going to happen. I 100% say that. I have a hard time saying that with the Eagles drafting a corner at 10. It wouldn't shock me.
I'm saying that.
It's just unlikely. I think it's likelier, like you said, the trenches is taking something like that, but I can't say it's not going to happen.
It's just not how they build their team, though. Like, look at the history of it. And when they've tried to draft corners high, it hasn't gone well for them.
It hasn't.
They don't do good at it. And what Howie Roseman is, like, that's not proper English. Don't do good at it. But
sorry, whatever.
And what Howie Roseman has shown you over the past couple years' drafts is he has learned to stick to his bread and butter. If you're going to draft a skill position guy, you're drafting a Heisman-level athlete from an SEC school. If you're going to draft a high pick, you're going to draft an offensive or defensive lineman. It's just how they've handled it because that's what he's good at. They're not good at evaluating those type of players. They haven't been in the past. Those players haven't worked out for them. And frankly, it's not the strength of this team. And the strength of this team was damn good enough last year to bring you to the Super Bowl and nearly win it.
So I think it's obvious this team has a ton of holes on the defensive end. And obviously free agency starting, next week, I believe it is, so about 10 days from now or something like that. So we're going to see what guys are back, whether it's Brandon Graham, whether it's James Bradbury, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. When it comes to the defense, is it fair to say a number 2 corner is more important right now, or even in the future as well, other than a defensive lineman? And does Howie Roseman need to realize that?
Possibly true.
You have Jordan Davis, you have Milton Williams, you have
Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Is it more important to
Javon Hargrave could come back
potentially? Like I think we all kind of agree that James Bradbury's probably getting a ton of money somewhere else, and I don't think they're not gonna have 2 corners in their 30s making over double digits, $10 million or plus or anything like that. So does Howie Roseman need to realize, hey, we're okay on the D-line. We can wait till the second round to draft a D-lineman. We really need a legit corner who has a chance to be a number 1 corner. Because I think he should. And I think corner is my number 1 need going into this draft.
I don't think that's a wrong thought process. And corner can be your number 1 need. I'm just telling you, they're not taking one at 10.
Okay.
Maybe they'll trade back and get one. Maybe they'll get one in the second round. Something like that. But they're not taking one at 10. The way that they've successfully built this team and the way Howie Roseman successfully builds this roster is by not making moves like that. And it's worked for him. And when he's tried to do it, it hasn't worked. So expecting that would be expecting the Eagles to go against what built a really good roster last year, and I don't think they're going to.
So you're telling me to expect an offensive lineman at number 10 rather than a corner, which is a much larger need.
I'm telling you the first expectation is a trade of the pick.
Yeah.
The second expectation is a defensive edge rusher.
If they draft an offensive lineman,
I don't think it's
number 10.
I don't think it's going to be
with their first pick.
I think it's going to be an edge rusher.
Okay.
But
you're probably correct.
Yeah, but that's how they build this team, and that's what's worked. So I'm just sorry if I'm crushing draft dreams and you want Joey Porter or you want Bijan Robinson or one of those skill position players, but I don't see it, and I don't think it's prudent based on what the Eagles and Howie Roseman do well. 610-632-0975. Now, we have something fun that I want to talk about coming up, and I don't think people are prepared enough for how awesome this is going to be. There's a great event starting this week that I don't know if everybody's even aware of. And if they are aware of, they're not aware that it's right around the corner, and the level of intense competition that you're going to get this week. I'll tell you what it is coming up, why you should be interested, and why it takes the place of something that a lot of people have been really excited about in this city. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, back with you after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Have you heard about the new ED treatment that's sending shockwaves through the medical community? Focused Shockwave Therapy from Forge Medical Group uses pulses of energy that travel faster than the speed of sound to penetrate deep inside your body and activate the growth of new blood vessels and tissue on a cellular level. It's safe, simple, and painless, with no drugs, no surgery, no injections, and no side effects. Forge Medical Group, Philadelphia's leading provider of ED treatments since 2018, will create a custom treatment program that combines focused shockwave therapy with acoustic wave therapy for proven, long-lasting results for as little as $300 a session. Guys, thanks to focused shockwave therapy from Forge Medical Group, you don't have to suffer from erectile dysfunction any longer. And neither does your partner. Appointments fill up fast, so call Forge Medical Group now at 610-632-8181 or visit forgemedicalgroup.com. That's forgemedicalgroup.com.
Hello, Madame Dupree? I'm here for my fortune telling.
Come, gaze into my crystal ball. I see financial stability.
Nice.
If you switch to T-Mobile, because you can get their price lock guarantee, so they won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
Wow, ever? Verizon and AT&T don't have that.
And I see a free Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and no trade-in required.
No trade-in? Hey, wait a sec. Do you also work at T-Mobile?
Well...
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus at T-Mobile, free on our Max plan when you switch. No trade-in required. Plus, you get our price lock guarantee, so we won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
With eligible port-in, $800 via 24 monthly bill credits and $200 virtual prepaid card rebate, plus tax for well-qualified buyers. Contact us before canceling service to continue remaining bill credits or credits stop and balance on required finance agreement is due. Register prepaid card code within 30 days. Allow 8 weeks. Price lock exclusions like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Details at T-Mobile.com.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about, and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless, and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-605-7935. That's 800-605-7935. Get your free bottle for a limited time. Call now. 800-605-7935. 800-605-7935.
Hi, honey. Happy first day back at work. Can't wait to see you tonight. We are so proud of you.
Daddy, we love you.
There are many reasons to start recovery. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, we are here to help. Call us. Our trained counselors are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. Your recovery is within reach. Call 844-REACH-NJ to learn about medication that can support your recovery. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
You just bought a home in the suburbs, but no one told you about all the birds, specifically this one, who seems to be calling out Roy. Roy. But who exactly is Roy? And why doesn't he ever respond? Maybe Roy is just bird speak for Save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. I guess until Roy answers, we'll never know. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
¿Tienes un arma en la casa que no está bajo llave?
房子里有没有解锁的枪?
No matter how you say it,
Is there an unlocked gun in the house?
always ask if there's an unlocked gun in the house. Guns are now the leading cause of death for kids. So, the next time you drop your kid off at a play date, a sleepover, or even at a friend's, remember, it doesn't kill to ask.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer, Michelle.
As an entrepreneur, every day is different. My phone bill from Cricket, on the other hand, always stays the same. Without surprises, hidden fees, or annual contracts, I can work worry-free.
That's Michelle, everybody, doing business like a boss. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Philly sports. We're born into it. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Don't damn pound.
10:20 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Oh, look who's back, dude.
Hey, you weren't here either. You walked in right before me.
I talked first. So
No, that's ridiculous. Jumping in there. Tom Alvord just walking in, wandering in, didn't even see the whole break, and all of a sudden you come in here acting like I wasn't here.
I'm ready for work at all times, dude.
Now you're doing the reads for the John Kincaid show tomorrow morning.
So your mind's elsewhere.
Doing like double duty. I'm zoned in. I'm always zoned in. Come on, man.
You say so.
Be where your feet are. And my
I don't
feet
think
are.
it's possible for me to be anywhere
right
else
here.
except for where my feet are.
Well, mentally you can be. You understand what the expression is.
That's fair.
Unbelievable. 610-632-0975. We have beef now between Tom and I, but we'll work through it for you out there, the listeners. We'll still put together a great program today. I do want to let you know this weekend's programming is presented by Wawa. Wawa invites customers to share stories about special store connections and celebrate associates as they gear up for the 59th Wawa Day, almost to the big 6-0. Visit wawa.com/day brighteners to submit a story, and Wawa will donate up to $50,000 to Children's Miracle Network and feature 10 best stories on April. There you go. Little Wawa Day coming up. That's awesome. Love Wawa Day.
Every day's a Wawa Day.
Yeah, for sure. But having a special Wawa Day is even better. So that's, man, we were talking about travel. That's one of the ways you know you're home too. If you've ever been away for a while, if you went to college out of the area or something like that. We were just talking a little bit of tourney talk with Ray and Haley in that last break, making our picks for March Madness coming up and who's going to make a deep run. If you went to like one of those big schools somewhere and traveled for school for whatever reason, like the first time you walk back into a Wawa after being away from the area is just,
I'm home.
Where's the first place you go? You walk into a Wawa. You've been gone for like, I don't know, a month, and you're walking in the front door. What's the first section of the store you go to?
I mean, it obviously depends on the time and what meal I'm having. Usually it's right
noon. It's noon.
Okay, right to the hoagie stand.
You're going right to the
absolutely.
right to the little kiosk
Absolutely.
there and putting everything in. Yeah, I think that's got to be mine too, because that's the key, and that's what we're grown up with.
Because of the variety. It doesn't just have to be a hoagie.
It's not only that, but it's second nature. Like, we don't even realize what we're doing because we've been brought up to do it. It's one of those natural
Sure.
things. Like, how do salmon know that they have to return to the place of their birth to give birth? It's like, how do we know to go to the Wawa hoagie stand first? And the reason we do it is because you put the order in, and then while they're making your hoagie, you go ahead and you browse the other sections, and you go to the other stores, and that way it's the most convenient time-wise. Because if you got everything else first, and then you went over to the hoagie thing, then you'd be there waiting for your hoagie too long. So we know to do that. We just do, but it's not like we were ever taught.
Is that true about salmon?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for sure. They go back to exactly where they were when salmon give birth. That's why.
Wild.
Yeah, that's why they swim upstream. They swim downstream when they're born, and then they go out to wherever, lakes and rivers and such. And then when it's mating season and they're ready to give birth to the next crop of salmon, they swim upstream back to exactly where they were born.
Learn something new every day. A little salmon talk this Sunday
And they're just fish. How do fish know?
Crazy.
How do we know to go to the Wawa hoagie stand first? But we know. We absolutely
ingrained in us.
Exactly. It's one of the great Philadelphia area things to know. That's just we were born to do it. 610-632-0975. Now, Tom, I know when I brought this up in pre-show prep, you were like, wait, that starts this week? You didn't even know exactly when it started.
A little bit.
It's something that we've been seeing news about for a while because people have declared what teams they're playing for and who's playing for who and who's eligible to play in this, that, and the other thing. But the World Baseball Classic starts coming up on Tuesday. We're just a couple days away. Tuesday the 7th is when the World Baseball Classic starts. And for everyone out there who's been really excited about the Philadelphia Phillies and spring training and everything you're seeing down there, well, this is getting ratcheted up like 10 points because the World Baseball Classic is going to be absolutely awesome this year. First of all, a lot of your Philadelphia Phillies players are represented. I mean, JT Realmuto is going to play. Trey Turner's going to play. Bryce Harper declared, but Bryce Harper is not going to play, obviously, because of Tommy John. Seranthony Dominguez is going to pitch. Taijuan Walker's going to pitch. Is Gregory Soto supposed to pitch? I don't know what's going on with his visa situation and everything there. They have so many guys that you're going to be able to watch. And I know it may feel like this baseball adjacent thing because the goal for all these guys is a World Series and all of this stuff and they're focused on the Phillies season. So it may be a side story to some. And I need you, if you're a baseball fan out there, if you're just a sports fan in general, I need you to be prepared for how awesome the World Baseball Classic is going to be. Like the United States team is absolutely stacked. The Dominican Republic's team is absolutely stacked. There are some really good teams out there. Oh, I forgot. Garrett Stubbs is going to be playing for Israel. You get to
I did see that, actually, yes.
There's all this cool stuff. Like, there's a team, I think it's like the Czech Republic. Like, they've got a team of a bunch of guys who are like plumbers in their spare time. Is like their full-time job
like
is
the NBA in the 50s and 60s?
Exactly, like the guys that Wilt Chamberlain played against. Now they're playing baseball for the Czech team. So you got some guys that they're playing for their country, and it matters to them significantly more than these guys making hundreds of millions of dollars to play in Major League Baseball. And it's awesome theater. It's high-level intensity, and it's almost better than spring training for Philadelphia Phillies players because you only get so much facing a guy wearing number 72 for the Minnesota Twins who's not going to make the Double-A team in Clearwater. But when you're facing the top arms on the planet, playing for something that matters that much to these guys, it's a high level of intensity, and it gets them really geared up for the season, I think, more so than spring training does.
Well, and that's the key word there is high level intensity because we're all excited for baseball to be back. That is true. We love spring training. We love the start of the season. But when it comes down to it, the season starts, it's April. And it's games in April where it's 40 degrees some nights. And listen, there's not a ton of high-intensity moments early on in the season in a 162-game regular season in Major League Baseball. It's the high intensity, and especially after what we went through and dealt with and that awesome, awesome ride that the Phillies took us on where every pitch was a high-intensity pitch, it's cool to kind of have that this early on in the season. It's like jumping right back in. Obviously, the World Series is much more high intensity for us here in Philadelphia than the World Baseball Classic. I understand that. But it's when you see that some of these close games and it's down to the Final Four, the championship series, whatever it may be, that's what's so cool about it. It's these teams playing for their home countries, these teams playing for a purpose this early on in the season, and that's what's so cool about the World Baseball Classic. And I can't wait. Even though I forgot it was this week, I can't wait.
Right, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people see it because in past years, there have been some big names.
It hasn't been, it's been like, what? A couple years since this has happened, right? Probably since before COVID. Like
it was, yes.
5 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while because they had that. It's normally every 4 years, I think, is the World Baseball Classic, and because of COVID, I think it got pushed.
Yeah.
But on Team USA's of the past for the World Baseball Classic, you've had like some name guys. Like I remember growing up when they had it, like David Wright would play, and like Andrew Jones would play, and guys like that. You'd have a couple, and then there were a couple guys you didn't really know, and you fill it out with some guys that are okay Major League players.
But it's not stars like this.
Dude, this year's, let me pull up the Team USA roster for the World Baseball Classic real quick. The names that are on here, if you haven't seen the guys that are declaring. It is absolutely incredible. You got JT Realmuto and Will Smith both on there. You got Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, Jeff McNeil, Nolan Arenado, Tim Anderson, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Kyle Schwarber. Sorry, I forgot to mention Kyle Schwarber is going to be on Team USA as well. I mean, some of the starting pitchers, Wainwright, I know he's old, but you got Wainwright, Miles Michaelis, Lance
the pitchers
Lynn.
are a little bit less of names, just because I think they're going to be careful with their arms, and teams are a little bit worried. But there are still big names. But the rosters itself, like the lineup, the position players, out of this world.
It's unbelievable, and that's just
team.
the USA team. Like the Dominican Republic team is unbelievable. Like they have some of the who's who of the top players in baseball right now. It's unbelievable.
Machado, Rafi Devers, Wander Franco,
Alcantara.
Julio Rodriguez, up and coming star, Juan Soto, Eloy Jimenez. Yeah, it's stacked.
Christian Javier, who we know from the World Series all too well. Like this is
Hector Neris.
Gregory Soto's supposed to be playing for them if we can figure out what's going on there. Hector Neris.
Hector Neris didn't do anything for you?
I love it. I mean, he had a good year last year for the Astros, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think people are prepared for how not important, I shouldn't say, because importance relative, but how exciting and what type of high-level baseball this is going to be for the fans of the game. And in a time where normally you'd be watching half of the Phillies starting roster play in Clearwater.
2 innings of Trey Turner, and then that's it.
You're getting guys playing for something, and it's in a time that we talked about in our first segment of how exciting, or our second segment maybe it was, of how exciting a time of year this is for sports. It adds another thing for you to keep your eyes on. It starts this week. So if you were big in on spring training, you're going to be even bigger in on the World Baseball Classic. So something to get excited for if you're a baseball fan out there like me, like Tom, like I think all of us should be, especially with a fun Philadelphia Phillies season to come. 610-632-0975. Been into a lot of stuff. Been talking Eagles, been talking Sixers, and a couple phone calls I want to run through here. Want to get in on those other topics we were on. Sean in Jersey is on 97.5 The Fanatic. Sean, how you doing, man?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, thanks.
All right, so I have an Eagles comment, and then I have I'm get to basketball. But
sure.
The Eagles, Howie Roseman has a lot of tough decisions to make. I don't see a game changer in this free agent pool that the Eagles have.
Hang on, Sean, the guys that are currently free agents on the team or guys available from outside?
No, the guys that are free agents on the team. I would not reach for any of them. In the next 3 years, we have a lot of draft picks, a lot of high draft picks, and we're going to have to supplement those players. And, I would put a dollar figure on each guy, and I would not reach for any of them.
Yeah, but Sean, there are guys there that you got to bring back. Like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has to be on this team next year. Javon Hargrave, you can slightly overspend on that guy because he's an impact maker in the middle of the defensive line. I don't think it's fair to say that none of those guys are difference makers.
My whole problem is if we obviously sign a bunch of these guys, if there is a game changer out there, obviously with the impending contract of Jalen Hurts, we're not going to be able to go out and get him.
You're more worried about overpaying.
Personally to me, I want to leave myself flexibility if I want to go out and get a guy. That's just my opinion. And that would maybe off the record, and believe me, I am prone. I like a lot of our guys this year, and I would hate to see them go. But then again, I want to have the money in the bank to spend if I want to spend it.
And other than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, when it comes to the free agent pool, you have the big names at least. A lot of these guys are late 20s, early 30s that they're going to make a ton of money for a ton of years. So I think that's what worries you the most about that.
Yep. And then basketball, you guys are probably not going to like it, but I'm a big Knicks fan. Okay,
that's all right.
I don't root against the Sixers, only if obviously the Knicks play them.
Sure.
But the way the Knicks are playing this year, I see a lot of the Eagles in the way the Knicks are playing. They're all playing for each other. There's no big stars on the team, and they got a lot of camaraderie and they're playing together. And I just love it. I love to see it.
So you feel good about their chances going into like a playoff series against one of these top teams, like the Celtics, Sixers, whatever it may be?
Yeah. At the beginning of the year when they fudged the Donovan Mitchell trade. I was very upset. I wanted Donovan Mitchell. Knicks have been chasing a star, for years and years and years. But I got over that, and I started to see a team that's sharing the basketball and playing, the way a team should play who wants to go somewhere in the playoffs. But
I got you, Sean.
Yeah, I think they can win a first-round game. I think that's about it. But, the comment that I really wanted to make is I could see the way the Eagles played this year to the way the Knicks are playing this year.
Yeah.
They're both kind of playing at the same kind of team level, which you need.
No, I appreciate the call, Sean. I can't say that 38-27 New York Knicks are playing the same way that the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, who nearly went undefeated if Jalen Hurts stayed healthy, were playing.
A little different. Yeah.
That's a bit of a stretch for me. I get that the Knicks have not had a lot to be excited about for the past 500 years, but
that long? That's how long it's been.
Feels like it. But I need Sean to slow his roll a little bit on that one. We'll see. Jalen Brunson's a nice player. And maybe they've got a shot in the first-round series, depending who they're up against. If they play, I don't know.
When it
if
comes
they
to
play the Cavs,
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting.
This kind of circles back to our main conversation of today. The reason I don't believe in the Knicks is because I don't believe in their two stars, and that's what it's about in the NBA, especially come playoff time. I'm not taking a guy like Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson in a 7-game series over Embiid and Harden.
No, you can't.
Over Tatum and Brown. Like, it just can't happen. Yeah.
Giannis and whoever else you want to
I know Middleton's not playing well, but you got Drew Holiday, whatever it may be. Yes. So unfortunately, that's how tough it is to get a star in the NBA, and realistically, you're not winning without one, and probably not winning without two in the NBA in today's age.
And the Sixers have two of them, Joel Embiid and James Harden. As long as you have those two guys, you have a chance. You have a championship caliber roster. Does that mean they will win? No. Does that mean they could win? Yes. And right now, that's about as good as you can ask for from any team in the NBA, and certainly from your Philadelphia 76ers. 610-632-0975. Let's go back to the phones and talk to Stan in Drexel Hill. Stan, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How y'all
Not much, man. Doing good.
Yeah, so, last night was an incredible win. I know every time they win these big games, we say that was probably the best game of the year for them. When James Harden had that 2020 game against the Clippers, the big game against the Grizzlies, and then this one. I think this one obviously stands out more because this is a team that you might see in the playoffs.
Right.
Sure.
In a 7-game series, which would be crazy. And, apparently since, 2021, each of these games have been by single digits or something like that.
They always play such tight games. It's wild.
3-3 or something like that, with the total score being 679 to 678 Sixers or something like that. It's a really crazy stat that I'm like, wow, maybe 7-game series with these two teams would be crazy.
Sure.
Two things. Number one, that last caller, the Knicks fan. Listen, it's great to have optimism, but
and there's such a thing as too much optimism, right?
Too much, because you got to remember the Eagles were number one.
Yeah,
all year.
If the Knicks were number one, then I could understand.
Well, Stan, the Knicks being number 5 is pretty much like the Knicks being number 1 at this point. That's about as good as it gets for them up there.
And I think they've beaten the Celtics. If I'm not mistaken, all 4 times they've played them, which is kind of crazy.
Have they really? Let me look at that.
They've played them well. So. You might be right. It might be all 4.
Because I know they definitely got 3, but I don't know if they swept them. And it's just that boggles my mind, because we're 0-3 against the Celtics, and it's just this is how the league is, right?
Yeah.
But and I'm looking at it, and this is something Tyrone talks about a lot on The Best Show Ever, when he says how Doc Rivers doesn't get the praise. And the thing is, and I don't know if he's listening, but I never get a chance to call in to give this take. The reason why I think Doc doesn't get the praise is because the whole saying of a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
You're not going to give a guy praise that you think fumbles the ball more often than not, right? So if you have 10 opportunities for something and the guy fumbles it away 6 times, the 4 times that he does it, they're not going to stand out as much because those other 6 times are still glaring, right?
Yep. Right, and that's the issue with Doc Rivers. That's what it's always been.
That's what I'm saying. And it's people are always going to question until he actually does it, because this is the same guy that has the most blown 3-1 leads in playoff series. You know what I mean? This is the guy who you question. He's playing Montrezl Harrell more than Paul. Now, listen, I'm not even a Paul Reed advocate, but even I can tell you that Paul Reed is probably the guy that you'd rather go to see what you got, at least compared to Montrezl Harrell. Or you're playing Furkan Korkmaz, and he's not playing them now, but you were playing Furkan Korkmaz instead of Isaiah Joe.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Stuff like that you're looking at it, and as a coach, you're like, come on, man, these are very, very obvious things that you should probably try to do, but you're not doing, And so when he does something right, you're going to get the golf clap.
Yeah. I got you, Stan.
It's like it's not impressive to us, because it's like until you do it in a big time game. Now you lose Game 7 in a finals or the Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals on some crazy whatever. We can let you live for that, but there's certain aspects of the game that even the average fan can understand. And when we see Doc not doing it, it's kind of like
drives us crazy.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly. I got a quick airport story too.
Okay, what do you got?
So this one it was almost sad. It actually ended up pretty well, but it was terrible. So it was like Christmas Eve. I was supposed to be flying out. My daughter had just been born, and they were living down in Florida. I was living up here, and so I made frequent trips down there.
Yeah.
And I was coming down for Christmas, and I was actually able to get a nice ticket. It was either the day before Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve in general. I can't remember exactly. But I just remember that I had a connecting flight. I get to the what's it called?
To the gate?
To the gate.
Yeah.
And the lady's looking at me dead in my eyes. I'm the only person there. She's like, "Oh, well, the flight is being delayed by at least an hour." So, you got
around Christmas too.
So I said, okay. No, I wasn't even mad though, because I was like, okay, this is fine. So I ran to the bath. The closest bathroom was I had to go all the way around or something like that. Nothing crazy. I just, just had to pee real fast.
Yeah.
Come back, and I see her closing the door.
No, what?
Swear to God.
You can't do that.
On everything I love. And then she's on the phone, and she goes, "Yeah, we're all good." And I'm like, "Ma'am, no, we're not."
No, you're not.
And then she's just looking at me, and then she's like, "You're going to have to go to customer service and this and this." I'm like, "You just told me I had an hour."
No, I'm not going to customer service. I'm going to that plane. That's where I'm going.
Stan, how long was the leak, though? Were you in there a while?
No, man. So it took a while to get to the bathroom.
No, I got you. Not an hour.
That did take a while, but not an hour's worth of time.
That's
man.
And then it's like
man.
I was able to get there that night. I had to catch another flight somewhere else. That was maybe a 30, 45-minute drive away from where they were, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And that lady helped me out big time because I explained to her my situation, and she got me on. I didn't have to pay anything or anything like that. So
that's good then.
But
that could have been horrible.
And the only reason I didn't snap is because I was like, I'm in an airport. I'm not trying to get blacklisted.
Yeah, that's great, Stan. Man, I appreciate the call.
Stan.
Glad you made it for Christmas.
That's horrible.
That's terrible,
man. Come on. Especially around that time, is not that the person knows that his daughter was just born or anything like that, but still, you can't be doing that to people.
I'm going to be careful here because was it last week that I had beef with Pepsi?
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Pepsi truck deliver drivers,
where you called them not heroes. Yes.
And then one called in, and you great guy. We reconciled. I still got to get together and deliver some Pepsi with him at some point. But so I don't want to completely go after airport workers. Man, some of these people in airport customer service are just, and I get it. If my job was to deal with people traveling who are always stressed out and always yelling at me, that would probably annoy me too.
Sure.
But
sometimes get off your high horse a little bit.
Some of those people who are helping you check bags or helping you at the gate are just absolute gems. You'll
phrase it that way.
I'll leave it at that. It's a mixed bag with everybody. You know what it is.
That's probably fair to say. Real quick, when it comes to Doc Rivers, I'm not blaming anyone for having doubts. I'm not.
No, and you shouldn't.
You shouldn't, because he hasn't proved
Not you shouldn't have doubts. You shouldn't blame someone who does have doubts.
Correct. Yes, because I worry about Doc Rivers too. Yes, I do. But my mindset for this entire season has been for years, is the stars matter more when it comes to the NBA playoffs. They were talking about Mike Budenholzer. They couldn't wait to fire him in Milwaukee. What happens? Giannis drops 50 in a game 6, closeout game, whatever it may be. They get over the hump and they win the finals. Budenholzer, I'm sure over there in Milwaukee, they still have talks about him, but you didn't hear anything after that, shortly after that, after they win the NBA finals, because that's what it comes down to. Coaching matters. It absolutely does. But if your stars are going to elevate their game to that much, I think it can overpower, or I guess that's not the best. It can overpower average coaching.
It's more important. It can cover up average coaching. The more important thing is how the stars play. That will always be the more important.
But again, I don't blame people for having doubts about Doc Rivers. He has to prove it in the biggest moment. So I understand why people don't get excited about regular season wins and don't want to give him credit about regular season wins.
I feel that. 610-632-0975. Now, coming up, we talked about what the Sixers' goal is, and we've talked about what they've done to put themselves in position for that at this point. Still 19 regular season games to go. By the way, to Stan's point with the Knicks and the Celtics, the Knicks are 2-1 against the Celtics this year. Went ahead and looked that up, so better than the Sixers. But anyway, the Sixers have their mission for the playoffs, and it's not something that's under their control, but it's something that we all need to root for. I know people are going to call me scared and people are going to call me this, that, and the other thing, but I'm just being realistic. I'll tell you what it is on the other side. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey guys, Bob Cooney here. And at FanDuel Casino, we know the only thing better than a win is a free win. And that's why they made Reward Machine, the daily free-to-play game that gives you a chance to win up to $2,000 in casino bonus. They've already given away over $20 million in free bonuses. And guess what? They're just getting started. Every day at 6 p.m., you get 3 chances to spin the Reward Machine reels. And there are 3 ways to win. 1, match any 3 symbols for an instant win. 2, collect symbols each day for a chance to win weekly prizes. Or 3, win up to $2,000 if you collect 3 trophies. So what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Casino app by going to FanDuel.com/Bob and start playing Reward Machine today. That's FanDuel.com/Bob.
No purchase necessary. 21 plus of President PA. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable casino-only site credit that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/casino. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month, with no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses, with the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Offer ends 3/21/23. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
Wendy's home-style French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me. Did you just say Wendy's French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Christine.
I'm a director and a performer. I got a free phone from Cricket and I've used it to live stream 73 of my shows on social media.
How do you like it?
It's fabulous!
Switch to Cricket and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial, limited time. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month first month service charge and tax due at sale. Phone streams video and SD. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get
the power of a cut above.
Decades of expertise to transform your home. From so-so to virtuoso.
The power of neighborhood painters.
We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put
the power of pro
to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. Home improvement contractor registration numbers are available at CertaPro.com.
Breaking news.
Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Smooth skin begins with hydrating ingredients. Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion nourishes your skin with all-day hydration for deeply moisturized results that give you confidence like buttery soft shoulders like and visibly smooth skin like. Quench your skin with nourishing moisture from Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion. Try Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash too and get skin your face will envy.
Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for the weekend?
Right now, generic Viagra, aka Sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends what you need in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping. Generic Viagra from $4 at Roman. Go to ro.co/Viagra. Do it today and get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/Viagra.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Philadelphia Union Soccer, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
.49 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord coming up in just 10 minutes. We're going to have Cheese Ball of the Week, and let me tell you, there are a lot of options this week.
There are.
There's a lot of stuff floating around out there in the sports world and beyond that needs to be discussed, and we will get into that. But more discussion on the Sixers in the meantime. Not in the meantime, it's the main course today. The Sixers with a huge win over the Milwaukee Bucks last night in Milwaukee. They looked every bit of an Eastern Conference title contender and an NBA Finals champion contender. That was arguably the best game from the Sixers this year, and I know there are other options, but it was a really, really good win.
I think, and not to get to it, but like with how you're chasing Milwaukee in the rankings, obviously, right, for seeding, it's a team that you're going to have to be on their level if you're realistically wanting to win an NBA championship. It being on the road, them winning 16 straight games going into that, I think it's fair to say that's the best win of the season. There's a ton to choose from, but given the circumstances, I think it's the best win of the season.
And it's the best win so far.
Correct.
Still a chance to build on that and everything, too. But really great night for the Philadelphia 76ers in general and Joel Embiid. And mostly James Harden was the guy that really was the catalyst for that victory. Huge fourth quarter out of him. Shot the ball incredibly well. Like, that was Houston James Harden last night. It was great to see that come back out and know that he still has that in him. And we know that because he's been more that guy this year than he was last year with that hamstring injury that was nagging him. So all good things for the Philadelphia 76ers, right? And we know what the goal is. The goal is to win the NBA Finals. We've talked last weekend about where this team goes after this season and how they're not getting better. Like, there's no clear path to improving this team. This is about as good of a shot as you can get with Joel Embiid and James Harden. And they're only getting older, and you got to pay Tyrese Maxey at some point. You got to figure
more
stuff
expensive,
out.
Yep.
So that's the goal. We know that. The path to get there is something that will become more clear in the coming weeks as the NBA regular season rounds out. But I'll give you the mission, Tom. It's very, very simple. Avoid Boston at all costs, please. And I know it's not under their control, but I need y'all to go to church every Sunday and pray for the Boston Celtics to lose. I need them to get knocked out. Whoever plays the Boston Celtics, I need us to root for them almost as hard as you're rooting for the Philadelphia 76ers, because I think the Sixers are capable of beating that Celtics team, but man, do I not have a lot of faith in them to do it. It's possible, but it is certainly not probable right now. I'll take the Sixers over Milwaukee. Absolutely. I'll take them over Milwaukee because I think...
You're saying you would pick them to win a series over Milwaukee.
Yes, okay, and I think mentally they're in a much better spot to play that team, but they have a mental block with the Celtics. They don't match up well with them. That's a really well-coached and well-put-together team, and I don't want any part of them, and I know people are going to say, oh, Connor's scared of Boston. And I think you should be too, because the Boston Celtics are a pretty damn good team. If there's one team to avoid, and I know it's easy to say, like if there's one team to avoid Boston, but this is paramount. And I know it's nothing the Sixers can do. So maybe it's a moot point conversation, but that is your rooting interest when the Sixers are not playing.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, when it comes down to it, I know people are going to worry about Miami early on. I know people are going to worry about any team that the Sixers are matched up with no matter what. But the two biggest ones, obviously, is the Celtics and the Bucks. And one of them you play a lot better and you match up with a lot better when it comes down to it. Stan from Drexel Hill called last segment, and he gave a stat. He didn't have the exact stat, but he's like, in the games they played since 2021, every single one is a one-possession game, basically, or right there, two-possession game. And I think it's 3-3 these guys are against each other since 2021. And then you look at Boston, and it's not the case, where they still haven't beaten Boston this year, and they just can't get over the Boston hump. You're right. Very well-coached team, a great organization. They don't match up very well. So, yeah, easier said than done, but that's what it comes down to. You can find a way to avoid Boston. I feel really, really good about their chances of getting to the finals.
Right, and it's not about finding a way to really avoid them because
it's just luck. It's the luck of the draw.
It is. But sometimes you got to get lucky to win, and this year it feels like you're going to need a little bit of help in that department.
It's better to be lucky than good, Connor.
I'd like to be both, and the Philadelphia 76ers may have an opportunity to be. 610-632-0975. We were also talking a little bit about the Eagles, their offseason, their draft, and Joe in West Philly's been waiting patiently, wants to get in on a little bit of that. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
Hear you talking about the Eagles earlier. How good is this running back from Texas, you think?
He's really good.
He's on like Saquon level coming out of college, Fournette, Peterson. He's that
Derrick
good.
Henry, like that type of conversation.
And this is my thing. Of course, we don't, you know what I mean? I know they don't do the running back at 10 and all that kind of stuff anymore. I know the running back is not a position, but I mean, in the league anymore, but for Philadelphia Eagles, it's a bread and butter position. I would be interested if the Eagles could move back and maybe take they're not going to sign Ronald Sanders with a running game. I mean, next to Jaylen Brown and put a young guy out of college who's supposed to be the next this and that or whatever. And with our running game and with our quarterback, I think that could be a dynamic. I would love to get maybe a corner and a running back in the first round. If you can get somebody of that caliber, I think that's more dynamic to the Philadelphia Eagles offense because that's what we do. You know what I mean? And that's what our quarterback does, and that's what we do as an offense. And if Miles Sanders not coming back, I think that would be a big boost offensively for the Eagles.
So when you see, and you're correct, I mean, having a guy like Robinson would be tremendous for this team, but when you see how many needs they have on the defensive side potentially, and when you see how replaceable almost, you could say, the running back position is, where a guy like Sanders, who other than this year hasn't had a tremendous career, would you rather them go out there and pick cornerback D-line in the first round rather than picking a running back, or are you all in on running back?
I'm all in on a running back. I would definitely like to have a corner and a running back in that first round. I mean, I think that with our offense, I think that with our running game, our running scheme, and what we do with our quarterback and our running backs, I think Gainwell and Boston Scott are nice, change the pace backs. But I don't think they'd like the meat and potato like a Miles Sanders would be. And if we're able to get a running back on the next level, I mean, for our offense and for what we do, I think that would be an awesome shot in the arm. Offensively with our offensive line, you know what I'm saying? A young beast
absolutely.
like that one. Yeah, I mean, I think that's hard to say no to. And if we're going to lose a corner, I would like to gain the corner. I think that our picks have to be starters. You know what I mean? That's what I'm more.
Oh, for sure they do. You got two first-round picks. These guys got to be impact players.
Can't be like last year where your top three rounds are all not playing.
And a cornerback at a position is two starting positions we got glaringly open. So that's what I think I'm gunning for. I'm hoping. You know what I mean? We can come out with two starters at a running back because I don't think Sanders are coming back. And I think our running game is that much important. And Wade Bradbury, they played last year. I would like a young guy to come in and be able to replace them if I had my wishes.
I feel you, Joe. Your wishes are not poorly placed. I like how you're thinking. I appreciate the call, man. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. The only thing is it's just – those positions, corner is more likely than running back to me. Because here's the thing. Like, this is a deep running back class when it comes to the draft. Bijan Robinson, by far and away the best option. You're not going to take him at 10 because taking a running back at 10 seems like a misuse of resources for me. Like, those teams that take running backs that high, the only two that it's really happened in the past, decade, have been Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. And neither of those teams really went anywhere.
And even Saquon, before this year, he had a tremendous first 2 years, but before this year, the two after that, he was battling injuries. And there were questions. There were people saying that was a bad pick at the time. Or not at the time, a couple years later, because he was always injured and he wasn't making the impact that someone at number 2 overall should be making.
Right. I'm not saying like that means Bijan Robinson isn't going to be good. I'm saying that when you see running backs drafted that high, and don't give me the Christian McCaffrey thing because the Panthers are a dumpster fire. Don't say, he was on the 49ers and they went to the conference championship game. No, it's not that. It's You look at the organizations that draft these guys high, building around a running back, using premium picks on a running back, paying a running back a second contract. None of these are ways to build a winning team in the NFL anymore. And if you trade back to, but here's the thing, with Bijan Robinson, he's so good that somebody's going to do it. So it's not like you can trade back to 25 and he'll be sitting there waiting for you. I think they'll get somebody, a running back in the second or third round, and try and do what they did with Kenneth Gainwell, where you get him in one of those mid-round picks and try and find a guy. But I don't see Bijan Robinson as part of the plan, and I don't see a corner at 10 either, because it's not a position that they normally invest in that high in the draft and have success with.
I'll be honest with you, and this, I'm not saying Joe's wrong, the last caller, because I think a lot of people share his same opinion. I think I'm in the outlier here. I am so out on a running back in the first round.
Yeah,
I am so out. I know even if Bijan Robinson's there at 25 and you want to trade up, dude, the way that this team operates, yes, they have a tremendous run game. Do you trust that Nick Sirianni in the offense is going to give a guy like Bijan Robinson 20-plus touches every single game? Because I don't at all.
No,
with
and
Jalen Hurts.
With Jalen Hurts, you don't do that. He's like half running back himself.
And with the way that they love their backup guys in Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell, to me, drafting a running back in the first round that is potentially only getting 15 touches a game when you have so many other needs on the defensive side, to me, I am so out on it. Listen, if they take a guy like Robinson, say he falls at 31, whatever, 30, whatever pick they have. Say he falls there. I know I'm going to talk myself into it because the kid has a ton of talent. But with how deep this running back class is, and with how the running back position now is in the NFL, where it's so interchangeable, and with how the Eagles operate when it comes to the run game, dude, I am so out on a running back in the first round. Second or third round, 100%. First round, I'm not doing it.
He's good. He's awesome to have. You know what Bijan Robinson is to the Philadelphia Eagles?
What's that?
He's a really cool hot tub. But
okay,
you have, like, your roof is 20 years old. Like, you need, there are things, it'd be awesome to have. He's
Your
going to be
dishwasher broke 2 years ago.
You're going to spend a lot of time in that hot tub, and it's going to be awesome. Like, and someone else is going to buy that hot tub, and you're going to be like, man, that's a pretty cool house they got over there. But you can't address the hot tub if the roof is going to cave in.
It's
and
a luxury. It's a luxury.
Exactly. And going and spending premium picks on luxuries is not how you build a championship football team. That's basically what it breaks down to. 610-632-0975. Got to get back to the phones in a second, but it is time for Cheese Ball of the Week. Tom, you won, so you decide. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to lead?
I'm going to go first because I'm a little worried we have the same one because we didn't discuss it normally as we normally do.
We got two options that are really on the board in my mind, and I think you're going to take one of them.
I'm glad you have the second one because I did not have a backup. My Cheese Ball of the Week is one Ja Morant.
That was one of mine as well.
Yeah, very, very well-deserved Cheese Ball of the Week.
What the hell is he doing?
Dude, I love watching him play. He is like the most explosive, fun player to watch in the NBA. The fact that he's, 6'4", 6'3", and he jumps out of the gym, it's crazy, man. He is a superstar type player. And I know people like to hate on the Grizzlies, and I know people like to hate on Ja Morant, but I love watching that dude play. But, man, you got to start surrounding yourself with better people, smarter people, getting better advice. I don't know what it is, man, because you just don't need to be doing what you're doing. Like flashing a gun on Instagram Live when you're already under trial, I think it is, or whatever it may be, for punching a kid or assaulting a 17-year-old kid or something like that. This kid's constantly in the news, and Ja Morant, couple articles. Ja Morant's inner circle allegedly aimed a red laser at the Indiana Pacers during aggressive confrontations after the game. Allegedly punches a teen a dozen times, flashes gun, police reports say. Accused of making threatening statements to a Memphis mall guard, and then he flashes the gun on Instagram Live. And I don't know. He probably has a right to carry that gun. Like he's probably a license. That's what
it doesn't matter.
But dude,
have a feel of what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Man, and it's just like that is not smart, man. And especially with it seems like he's just trying to act hard and it's not even about where he came from or anything like that. But you're trying to do too much. You're trying to be someone that you're not. Man, you have a talent and a skill that people would die for, would kill for, and it seems like you're wasting it a little bit and you're getting yourself into too much trouble. And the way that the world is nowadays, man, you don't want to be acting hard to the wrong people because it just takes one time. So, Ja Morant, chill out, man. He's taking 2 games off, getting some time away. I saw he deleted his Instagram and everything like that. But, dude, calm down. You are a special, special talent. Don't ruin it for yourself. That is my Cheese Ball of the Week, Ja Morant.
It's a great pick. It was going to be one of mine, but it wasn't my best one.
Uh-oh. Yeah. That's good.
Yes. My Cheese Ball of the Week is one Charles Fletcher. Good old
Chucky.
Who, just absolutely nailed the NHL trade deadline this week for the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know how it could have gone better. You went ahead and you got like an extra 5th-round pick from a trade that nobody cares about that doesn't make your team better.
Critical.
You had a guy in James Van Riemsdyk that we've been saying all year is going to get moved at the trade deadline and cannot be here, and he's not in the future plans of the organization, and he isn't giving you anything, and you got to move him and get something for him. And the GM is completely unable to do that, completely unable to do the base duties of his job that are expected of him by this fan base and probably by that organization. He can't get the job done. He tries to say that no one was calling and not doing anything, and he made 17 calls and only took 2 because no one was interested in James Van Riemsdyk and couldn't have gotten as much as a 4th-round pick for. Listen, it's your job to figure it out. It is your job to find out how to get people interested in the players you want to move. If you're not using a guy, if a guy's not in your future plans, you have to do something to try and salvage this train wreck that you have created with the Philadelphia Flyers roster. You have to figure it out. John Tortorella is fighting against your current to try and make something. Chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. And you're actively fighting against an organization whose ownership is doing the same thing. So, yeah, Chuck Fletcher, you're not doing your job. I don't even know that you're trying to at this point. I don't know that I can trust what you're telling this fan base and telling the media and even saying at this point because you're just so glaringly unable to fulfill the duties as general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers. And I cannot wait for the day. I'm not going to say I cannot wait for the day he's fired because it's not great to root for someone to be unemployed. I'm sure he'll be fine. No one will be crying for Chuck Fletcher. But I'll just say I can't wait for the day that somebody else is the general manager of this team because you have completely and utterly failed. That's my cheese ball of the week.
That's a tremendous pick. It's mine was the Flyers last week. I love how you go Chuck Fletcher, an individual. The team's a mess right now, man. It's a mess. And that's what I worried about last week leading up to the trade deadline. I'm like, dude, Chuck Fletcher put them in this position where they are an absolute dumpster fire, where they have a 1% chance of making the playoffs and a 1% chance of getting the number 1 pick when there's the next Connor McDavid coming out. I had worries about him coming to the deadline, and you see why. The organization is a joke at this point. And it sucks because when the Flyers are good, it's a ton of fun. And Flyers fans and Philly fans don't deserve what the Flyers are putting out right now as a product. Totally. And what's going on up top.
Totally correct. 610-632-0975. Now, I don't know if we can trust this next guy to be our cheese ball of the week decider, but he's the guy in line. Mike from Del Rance on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Mike?
Yo, what's up, guys? That's a good one. You guys should get us to, sponsor that segment, cheese ball of the week. That's because those are both very good.
It's not a bad idea.
Might need to.
Might need to. I want to do Eagles, Sixers, and then I got an airport story, too, real quick. Listen, when you make it to the Super Bowl, you get as many guys back as you can, and then you draft the other. You don't go out and look for some key star, right? What do you think you're going to go get? Joey Bosa or Aaron Donald? I mean, there might be 5 guys in the whole NFL that I break the bank for, but that's not what you set yourself up in a position to do. And I don't need a Knicks fan telling us what the Eagles should go do.
Yeah, right. Compare the Knicks to the Eagles is wild.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird. Knockout was probably fun last night, huh? I mean, it was way better after. Was that last night?
No. They were in Milwaukee last night, Mike.
Oh, they were away. Oh, that's
coming up.
What do you think? They're flying us out to Milwaukee?
Yeah, you guys never mind. That was stupid.
It's all good. No, against the Mavericks coming up. The date is the 29th of March.
Oh, that's cool. That would be. But what a great game last night, man! That was a needed win. You know what I mean? That was a big win.
Statement win.
Yes.
Statement win, and it shows you how this team can play in a playoff atmosphere when everyone's healthy. That's all I care about, man. At this point, I want to just rest everybody and just wait and, just have some health out there. But my airport story, dude. So 2001, right? It was a month after they started letting, people fly again, right? After 9/11. And I had went out to Erie, PA, to see a girl. Right, it's always about a girl.
Gotta see about a girl.
Yeah. Long story short, that girl wasn't worth it. I ended up getting into a fight in a bar in Erie, PA. I'm by myself. I ended up getting jumped, thrown out of this bar. Now I'm all pissed off. I get a taxi to her house to get my stuff. I may or may not have urinated in her bed out of anger. and I went to the airport. I'm a scumbag. So I'm at the airport, right, and I'm getting the first puddle jumper from Erie, PA back to Philly. There's 9 people waiting in line to board this plane, right? Well, like I said, it was right after 9/11. A security guy and an airport, person asked me to step out of the line, and he does the put the rubber glove on with the smack, like you would do if you're going to get a colonoscopy or something.
Yeah.
I flipped out. Hell no, you ain't doing that. I thought they were gonna cavity search me, right? I'm already kind of hammered and drunk. I'm freaking out, right? They have security come over, and then finally they calm me down. They're like, "Sir, I just put this on for my protection to look in your bag." And I'm like, you know what, man? Look in the bag. I don't.
Sorry, I've had a long day.
I've had a long day, dude. So yeah, man. But man, snapping the rubber glove is no.
That's sketchy stuff, man.
Sets you off.
At least other stuff. So anyway,
yeah,
go
Mike,
Birds.
Yeah, do me a favor, Mike. You still got to pick our cheese ball of the week. So between the two nominees, Ja Morant and Chuck Fletcher, biggest cheese ball of this week.
Chuck Fletcher's been a loser. Ja Morant's got the world by the you-know-what. That was stupid. Ja Morant's cheese ball of the week. That's
wow. Okay, we're going Ja Morant. Appreciate it, Mike. Man, you
tremendous
stole that
selection.
one. I thought I had a good look at that, too. I don't know if we could trust Mike to make that pick after that airport story, though. Whew.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a heck of a day out in Erie, PA.
That is something, yeah. But yes, well-deserved. Both candidates, very well-deserved cheese ball of the week. But, that's 2 straight victories there, kid.
Yeah, I know. You're catching up.
Getting hot.
It's now like 100-22. This is great. You're making that late Sixers fourth quarter run. You're
gonna have to marathon, not a sprint, buddy.
There's no James Harden over there helping you out.
I'm James Harden.
No 15-2 run coming. 610-632-0975. That was Cheese Ball of the Week. Let's go to Chris in Overbrook, who wants to talk a little Eagles and thoughts on a running back. Chris, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's going well, man.
All right, great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where this thing comes from that you can't draft a running, or you shouldn't draft a running back in the first round. Like, I think that's what we were missing this year. If we draft one of those running backs like LeGarrette Blount, which was, to me, one of the main reasons we won the Super Bowl in 2017. Without him, I don't think we really win that Super Bowl. He was carrying the load. If we have Miles Sanders as a complement back, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to put his body in constant danger every 3 plays.
And listen, that's a fair point. That's the biggest advocacy for a running back being drafted, is that you have to run Jalen Hurts less. But it's straight factual about the NFL that drafting a running back high up in the first round is not conducive to team success.
But I don't understand where that comes from.
Where it comes from is those players, the teams that draft those running backs in those spots do not win championships. They don't.
Well, that might have to do with the way that the team is currently constructed. But the way our team is constructed, I think it would be a very good idea to draft a running back in the first round, especially somebody that's going to be able to carry the load for at least 5 years if he keeps his body in shape. And you have Miles Sanders, to me, who could be the ultimate complement back. And the people that want to get rid of Miles Sanders needs to have their head examined. That would be one of the dumbest things to do.
Chris, no one wants to get rid of Miles Sanders. What they don't want to do is pay a running back a second contract. That's another thing that's been proven to basically condemn you to not winning a championship in the NFL.
Well, you might want to get a running back that's NFL ready, so by the time his contract comes up, you could probably do something with him before his rookie contract's over.
Yeah, Chris, I appreciate the call, man. They will get a running back in this draft. I firmly believe it. I don't think they're going to take one in the first round.
Sanders is done his rookie contract, by the way. He's a free agent. Yeah, and
he's a free agent now. That's why people are saying he's gone.
If they draft a running back in the first round, which I do not want, which you do not want, Connor, and I don't think they do, if they draft one, there is no shot in hell that Miles Sanders is coming back to this team. They're not paying a running back big money and drafting one in the first round. That would be a very big mistake for Howie Roseman and the Eagles, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah, no chance that happens. In this next break, I want to go through and I'm going to look at some of the running backs that have been drafted in the first round, but none last year. 2021, you had Najee Harris and Travis Etienne for Pittsburgh and Jacksonville, respectively. Neither of those teams go anywhere. And the only reason Jacksonville was remotely in it was because they got Trevor Lawrence, 1 overall in that same draft. And Doug Peterson's a great coach.
The biggest thing to me, and it's not necessarily like the team success, it's that like a lot of times the number one running back isn't the best running back in that class. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the number one running back taken. He had guys like DeAndre Swift behind him and Jonathan Taylor, I believe, was behind him in that draft. J.K. Dobbins as well. Like the year that Leonard Fournette, like for a lot of time, I think Christian McCaffrey was in that same draft. Najee Harris, as you mentioned, like just because they're the number one running back in the draft, in the class that year, does not mean that the second and third and fourth running back in that class are going to be worse than them. Like, no, a lot of times, guys like Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor.
Second-round guys. Miles Sanders, second-round guy.
You can find guys later in the rounds where you don't need to reach on a position that isn't necessary.
Running back, this was a fun hot take for you. If you're a proponent of drafting a running back in the first round, they're not that important. All due respect to Miles Sanders. He was a very good running back this year. He was a huge part of this team. I'm not saying Miles Sanders didn't matter to the 2022 Eagles. I'm saying the position, the way football is currently played in the year of our Lord 2023 is not that important to waste a 10th overall pick on. It's straight up how the game is played now, and you got to get with the times. That's how rosters are built, and that's what the Eagles need to do. 610-632-0975. Now, coming up, I want to talk a little bit, and Tom, you wanted to get into this too. Darius Slay's in a very interesting spot this offseason. And we've been hearing a lot from him on social media and everything. He's doing these videos that are coming out on Twitter that we're seeing. I'm very interested to see just where, because he's going to be your number one corner. Well, he was this past year, but he's going to be kind of on an island again with James Bradbury most likely leaving. Where do you kind of stand on Darius Slay, and how much confidence do we have in him at this point? Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord. We're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Hello, Madame Dupree. I'm here for my fortune telling.
Come, gaze into my crystal ball. I see financial stability.
Nice.
If you switch to T-Mobile, because you can get their price lock guarantee, so they won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
Wow, ever? Verizon and AT&T don't have that.
And I see a free Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and no trade-in required.
No trade-in? Hey, wait a sec. Do you also work at T-Mobile?
Well...
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus at T-Mobile, free on our Max plan when you switch. No trade-in required. Plus, you get our price lock guarantee, so we won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
With eligible port-in, $800 via 24 monthly bill credits and $200 virtual prepaid card rebate, plus tax for well-qualified buyers. Contact us before canceling service to continue remaining bill credits or credits. Stop and balance on required finance agreement is due. Register prepaid card code within 30 days. Allow 8 weeks. Price lock exclusions like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Details at T-Mobile.com.
Hey guys, are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? There's a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men and is now available in Philadelphia. Oak Hills Medical Clinic uses WAVE technology, backed by 50 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. It's been shown to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call now to schedule a completely free and confidential assessment. You will receive a free blood flow ultrasound and get something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom in just minutes. This unprecedented offer is worth $600, but is free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic of Philadelphia now to schedule your completely confidential appointment. 215-302-9999.
Hey, Sixer fans, it's Matt Cord for the Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers. The Bet Parks app is fun to use, built around on what you want right from your phone. It's easy to sign up, great customer service, and faster to win than ever before. Download the Bet Parks app today. The Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers.
Website for terms and conditions. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Parks Casino. This is how you win. It's time for live music. It's time to dance. It's time to visit Parks Casino, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. Get into 360 for the best local bands and live entertainment. Friday, March 10th, it's the Amish Outlaws. Saturday, March 11th, Sidearm takes the stage. Plus Joe Conklin's Comedy Night every other Thursday night. Follow on social or at parkscasino.com. Parks Casino. This is how you win. 21 gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless, and it started working in minutes.
All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-605-7935. That's 800-605-7935. Get your free bottle for a limited time. Call now. 800-605-7935. 800-605-7935.
Hi, honey. Happy first day back at work. Can't wait to see you tonight. We are so proud of you.
Daddy, love you.
There are many reasons to start recovery. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, we are here to help. Call us. Our trained counselors are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. Your recovery is within reach. Call 844-REACH-NJ to learn about medication that can support your recovery. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Listen to 97.5 The Fanatic everywhere. On Alexa at 975thefanatic.com, The Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey. Adam Schefter plays on one station in Philly, 97.5 The Fanatic.
$11:20 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord. A lot of fun talk today. Eagle stuff, Sixers big win, a little bit of Phillies conversation as well. And we got the Flyers ranter and cheese ball of the week. Man, we've covered all the bases. Every single one. Even home plate. Just doing it all, which is not technically a base. A little fun fact for you. It's a plate.
Okay, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
We did a riddle game. Was that this week on the John Kincaid Show where we did I think that question was 2 weeks ago during open house week when we had Steven Singer in. And we went ahead and asked how many bases are there on a baseball diamond? The answer is only 3. A lot of people will say 4 because of home plate. So there's a little fun fact for you.
Is it because it's called a plate, you're not going to call it a base?
Exactly. It's not a base. It's a plate. It's different.
Okay. I don't agree with that.
You wouldn't call a plate a bowl. They're different things. They are what they're named.
Okay. Regardless, I'm not going down that right now.
That is, without a doubt, the dumbest open that I think I've had to any segment that we've ever had on these airwaves. So far. It can always get worse. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Now, Tom, this is something you wanted to get into on the whole Darius Slay conversation. Do you feel like the fan base is kind of losing a little bit of love for him? Is that what it is?
I absolutely think that's the case. Not everybody, but it does feel like people are starting to sour a little bit on Darius Slay to me.
What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. I don't know if it's James Bradbury outplaying him this season potentially, and he's the one leaving, and Darius Slay is still under contract for next year. I don't know if it's because of him throwing Josiah Scott under the bus after that Dallas Cowboys, what was it, 3rd and 33 or 4th and 33, whatever the hell it was, I forget. I don't know if it's because he did have a little bit of a down season, I think you could say. Maybe not up to our standards. Yeah,
and
very good start.
Kind of disappeared down the stretch.
And I haven't heard of him dealing with any injury or anything like that, so I don't know what it is. He is 32 years old. It just feels like we're souring a little bit, and we're kind of waiting for Darius Slay to walk out of the door at this point. Again, he's under contract next season, then he's a free agent. He's no longer with the team. Potentially, we'll see if they restructure something or whatever it may be. I'm curious if we've played stay and go with all the free agents. Everybody has, right? Oh, do you want Brandon Graham to stay or do you want him to go? Miles Sanders, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. This is for a guy who's under contract. I'm curious if more people want Darius Slay to stay or want him to go at this point. Now, there's been rumors and rumblings a little bit of potentially them looking to either extend them or looking to trade them to figure out what to do with the cap hit because you have a lot of holes to fill. And only so much you can do in a salary cap league. So I am curious. And to me, it's just like, listen, do I think Slay took a little bit of a step down this season? Yes. Do I think Bradbury outplayed him? Yes. He was the second all-pro cornerback, Bradbury, and Slay didn't make the team. But this is still a guy who shut down the best wide receiver in all of football, 8 months ago,
Yeah.
something like that, and Justin Jefferson. And I don't know, some of this could contribute to Jonathan Gannon and his scheme, where there wasn't a ton of press coverage and everything like that. But the way that we've seemed to turn a little bit on Darius Slay is shocking to me. And that's the biggest thing with me is Darius Slay's been a really good cornerback, top 15, top 10 type cornerback the last 2-3 seasons, and even longer than that, you can argue. A guy who shut down Justin Jefferson, who is under contract for next year, it's kind of crazy to me how much people are kind of waiting for Darius Slay to get out of here.
I don't
Do you
know,
see that at all or no?
I don't know that I totally feel that or see that from the fan base. I'm not sure who you have saying that. It's social
It's just
media
more
stuff.
Twitter,
everything.
social media, but more so than I ever saw with Darius Slay, I'd say.
Yeah, I think part of it is the Eagles have kind of gotten into this between A.J. Brown and Darius Slay and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, gotten into this whole social media offseason of tweeting at people and putting out videos and talking trash to the Chiefs and everything. Listen, I'm all for good trash talk. I'm cool with it. That doesn't bother me at all. But when you do that, I think part of the fan base starts to not even alienate yourself, but the more you put of your thoughts out there and your commentary as a currently active player, the greater risk you run of somebody disagreeing what you're saying and then the fan base starting to not like you as much. Like
A.J. Brown does it a ton.
I know.
And now, listen, A.J. Brown had a better season than Darius,
right?
Obviously, but A.J. Brown's got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
another guy.
It's not always a bad thing. Like it can win a fan base over. Some comments you make in the offseason. I'm just saying, the more active you are on social media, the more you share your thoughts on things, whether they be football related or not, you're opening yourself up to the fan base having more things to potentially be critical about to you. I'm not saying don't voice your opinions. I'm not saying don't be on social media. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying naturally when you do that, you're giving people more of an insight into who you are as a person and sometimes who you are as a player when you're looking at breaking down film or talking about guys you played against, or when you have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson going at your former defensive coordinator on Twitter and stuff like that. There have been a lot of deleted tweets recently from A.J. Brown and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, stuff like
that.
That's safe to say. So I'm not here to say it's exclusively a bad thing for that to happen. I'm just saying when that happens, it can change the fan base's perspective of a player, for better or for worse. So maybe that contributes to it. Here's what I'll say with Darius Slay. My way of handling his contract right now is what the Phillies are going to do with Rhys Hoskins. He's not getting an extension this offseason. He's not getting an extension during the season to me. We'll see how he plays this year. See what type of money he earns based on that performance, and then see what you can bring him back at as a free agent next year. Yeah. So he's not getting to talk Phillies. Like the alternative would be what I want them to do with Aaron Nola. I want them to give Aaron Nola an extension before the season starts because I think he earned it, and I think he's a really important part of this rotation that's very underrated by this fan base. Rhys Hoskins is a guy you got to wait and see play this year to see how he does defensively and what he brings to this team and how the team plays and the type of money he'll command in free agency, the wait and see approach. And that's what I think is the right approach with Darius Slay. I'm not saying I don't want him here. I'm not saying he's not an important part of this defense. I'm just saying that I'm not ready to throw more money at him at his age and with all of the money this team needs to give out to other players, namely Jalen Hurts. And then we can cross that bridge when we get to the end of this season. And if he's earned a contract extension or re-signing or whatever you want to use verbiage-wise, we'll go ahead and take care of that then. That's how I would handle it and just see how he plays out.
Yeah, I kind of have the same thought process, especially when it comes to Rhys Hoskins. Him being a Scott Boras client scares me a lot because I think he's going to get a ton of money potentially.
Yeah.
Now the DH obviously in both leagues and everything like that. But with Darius Slay, I look at his numbers and they're really similar to what they have been in the past. Like same amount of tackles, same amount of interceptions. Had 3 last year, had 3 this year. Been a Pro Bowler for the last 2 seasons, but it just doesn't have the same feel. I feel like after the season last year, we were excited about Darius Slay and talking ourselves into how good of a cornerback he actually is in this league. Doesn't have the same feel this year, and it's just curious to me, and I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can point to is some of the social media stuff. It also, cornerback is a weird position, right? Because it's kind of like offensive line in a way, offensive line pass blocking in a way. You only get talked about if you don't do your job. When you do it right, you don't get noticed because your goal is to shut someone down, for them to not throw your way. So it can be easy to lose track of how important a corner is to a team. Because if you're Darius Slay, and I know James Bradbury's on the other side, if you're doing your job, ideally a quarterback isn't even looking your direction when you're at the top of your game. So it's a weird position for your average fan to evaluate. So maybe that factors in as well. I'm not seeing it as much as you are, but I kind of get what you're saying, and I understand with a aging cornerback, and you're already losing James Bradberry, why it would be a question as to how you handle Slay, because he's super important, and he becomes even more so once Bradberry walks out the door like we all believe he's going to. That's why you can't go anywhere now. You can't trade him now. There's nothing to do with Darius Slay now but let him play out this contract. And then at the end of the season, you reevaluate and you see what money you've committed to other players and how much he's earned, and see what you do in the draft as well. If you do get a corner in like the second round or in the later first round, and go ahead and get one of those guys that you can build a secondary around. I did just see a tweet in the break, by the way, while we're on the topic of Darius Slay and the Eagles secondary. Jamie Lynch was quote tweeting it. I believe it was Jordan Schultz was the person he was quote tweeting, talking about Marcus Epps getting a lot of interest in free agency. He ranked 6th in the league, forcing incompletions among safeties, only 27 years old, very good in the run defense, except for that one Christian McCaffrey run in the playoffs against
NFC Championship.
Yeah, in the NFC Championship game. But it's another one. Like, the Eagles have a lot of questions in the secondary with Bradberry and maybe even Epps also leaving. Darius Slay's got to be here, and he's got to be a big part of this team this year. And then we'll cross that bridge in the future.
I've already seen, and it was Jordan Schultz, by the way, that he quote tweeted. You've seen the rumblings of players getting interest from other places.
That's what happens when you go to the Super Bowl.
Sure. Brandon Graham, interest from the Browns. Marcus Epps, as you just mentioned. Like TJ Edwards, I saw something where he could have a larger market than people may expect. And that's what happens when you win as many games as the Eagles did and get to the Super Bowl and are, a couple points away from winning the Super Bowl, a couple calls away, whatever it may be, from winning the Super Bowl. You're going to get paid. So I tend to think Howie Roseman learned from his mistakes, quote unquote, in 2017, where, yes, it was awesome. This team was incredible. Sometimes you catch lightning in a bottle, sometimes a little bit of magic, and you don't want to just keep trying to force it out there and put the same product out, and you end up giving bad contracts to Alshon Jeffrey, giving bad contracts to Jason Peters, whatever it may be. And I think they're going to go more in the direction of, hey, we're going to lose some guys. We understand that. We have a couple guys that we really, really want to keep. Other than that, we're going to build this thing through free agency on potentially one-year deals, some bargain-type deals potentially, and through the draft as well.
610-632-0975. I want to jump back to the phones. Let's go to Dennis in Upper Darby. Dennis, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Do you guys on speaker? Kind of distant.
Hold on.
Thanks, man.
How about now?
That's much better.
It's good, man. Thanks.
All right. But I'm just calling today because I just want to say that, like, I still believe, like, we should draft running back, because I understand what you were saying about, like, a lot of teams don't have successful seasons or successful times when you draft a running back and stuff. But, like, I don't think many teams are in the same position as us as going to the Super Bowl, coming back and having a high pick.
Yeah, that's fair. Here's what I'll say, Dennis. So there's a perfect example for this, and you'll get your full time. The Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago, they came off a Super Bowl victory. Mahomes is first, and they drafted a running back at 32 in the first round, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, Edwards-Helaire ended up doing basically nothing for him. Not a great pick by them, to the point where he wasn't even in use this year for half the season. He didn't really work out. I mean, that's the tough thing with running backs. Even if you're in a great position to draft one and you have a lot of other positions covered, there's such a short shelf life, and it's so iffy, even the top-level ones. It's so hard for them to consistently contribute to an NFL team, to the point where they're not as valuable in the way that the game is played right now as they have been in the past.
All right. I get that. But I just still feel like we still should spin the wheel on that, because, like, just imagine having a high-quality running back with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, second or third round, I'm all for it, man. I got no problem with that at all. And I think they will invest in that position this offseason. I just don't want it to be with the number 10 overall pick.
All right, I agree with you at that point. And then my second point is the Sixers. That win last night brought a lot of confidence back in me, because it was wavering. After, the one Heat game and then the Boston game, I was just like, I don't see us making it far because going through those teams, like, I'm just like, all right, I don't see it happening. But that win last night from the Bucks, it brought a lot of confidence back in me. And even with James Harden, the way he's been playing, being more aggressive, I like that version of James Harden, even with him having 10 assists, and he still dropped 31 last night. Like, I'm like, if we go playing like that and then everyone else get their shots, like from Embiid and James, I think we could go very far.
Yeah, Dennis, man, I agree with you and appreciate the
Thanks,
call, man. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday. That was, last night, the blueprint for how you win a playoff series against the Milwaukee team. Honestly, that's the blueprint for how you win a playoff series against any team. You got to have your top guys play to an elite level. You got to make sure you're getting other guys open looks. Those other guys who are getting those open looks, the George Niangs of the team, have to knock down their shots. 16-point night for him, which was huge as part of the win. And that's what has to happen consistently if you're going to go anywhere in the Eastern Conference this year. You saw it. They're capable of it.
Yeah.
Now, are they capable of it over the course of a 7-game series?
Team basketball, your stars putting up big numbers, having efficient nights, them hitting shots and making smart plays, clutch plays down the stretch. The bench stepped up, maybe a little bit more offense potentially from the bench, but I'm not going to be picky here, man. You just had the best win of the season. But yes, I get what you're saying. And not every win's going to be the same. Some wins you're going to have your guy off the bench who's scoring 20 for you, and then you end up stealing a game like that, like Tyrese Maxey has done before, and like Shake Milton has done in the past with past teams. Not that he's going to be getting any run or much run at all at this point, but yeah, that was a really nice win, and it's nice to hear instilled confidence in a caller like that, because I don't think I think we share the same thought here, where the regular season isn't going to change a lot for Sixers fans out there. And that wasn't the case with that last caller. He was all in on the Sixers, and last night was a huge part of that.
Right. The most important thing we're going to learn is the seeding. We're not learning anything crazy new about this team. And what I will say, while we're on the topic of the Sixers and last night, I was very interested to see what James Harden and Melton and Tyrese Maxey all looked like out there together. And that could be something we see tomorrow night against the Indiana Pacers, with Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker dealing with injuries. And Doc was saying he doesn't know if those guys are going to be good to go for that game. I wouldn't hate to see those guys in the starting lineup together and go with like a little 3-man backcourt almost. I don't know. I'm very interested to see what these different combinations are, because one of the upsides, the fringe benefits of light injuries to starting guys is you get to see what the chemistry is like between some of these other players. It goes back to what we talked about with the Sixers and developing young talent. When you have a team that has championship expectations and you're trying to win 50-plus games every regular season to get as good a seeding as possible in a stacked conference, you don't really have leeway to play young guys and develop them. You don't have time to give minutes to these young players because you're in so many games that matter to you.
It's win now mode every single game.
Exactly. So you don't get a chance to develop the chemistry between them and some starters. You don't get a chance to see all the potential lineups because you're caught up with the most important thing, which is winning basketball games. And when you have these minor injuries, and maybe Tobias Harris misses a couple games or PJ Tucker misses a couple games, it kind of forces you into seeing. It's not ideal. Ideally, everybody's healthy every time. But it forces you into playing some other players and seeing how they fit together and maybe discovering something that could be an asset as lineup-wise, coming off the bench, not starting-wise. I think the starting lineup is pretty set for the playoff run, but you figure stuff out, fitting the puzzle pieces together with some of these other players as you await for the starters to return from injury.
Yeah, it potentially gives you more options, and it gives a little bit maybe more confidence in Doc Rivers going to guys that maybe he wouldn't have gone to a week ago because we weren't in this scenario because everyone was healthy. Yeah, maybe he sees what DeAnthony Melton does with Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. He's like, you know what? That's something that I have confidence in that we can roll out in a playoff-type series. We'll see what happens because it is Doc Rivers, and sometimes when it comes to his rotations, he can be a bit hard-headed, but you're right. If it's a minor type injury where a guy has to miss a game or two, there can be a little bit of glimmer of upside of that potentially.
So let's say Tobias is out and PJ Tucker's out against Indiana on Monday night. What's your starting lineup?
What's mine or what is Doc Rivers going to do?
What's yours? What are you putting out there?
I mean, yeah, you probably have to go. You think you see McDaniels at all?
Joe Harden, Maxey are all out there.
Joe Harden and Maxey. I probably go. You go Melton, and you probably go McDaniels, right?
That's exactly where I'm going too. You know what? I'm not.
Like they wouldn't start Paul Reed. I don't think you're starting Paul Reed.
No, too much clogging up of the lane. They don't space the floor enough. Yeah, I think that's the only option that works because George Niang, you can't cover starters. He's just not good enough defensively, and you already have Maxey can shoot it, Melton can shoot it, Harden can shoot it, and Embiid shoots it every once in a while. So you're not going to bring in a guy who's just a spot-up wing shooter. I think that's probably what you got to roll out.
Plus, when it comes down to it, come playoff time, you're probably going to be relying much more on a guy like McDaniels than a guy like Niang. Obviously, Niang.
McDaniels, nice fourth quarter last night.
Yeah,
too.
really
finishing work. That putback dunk he had late in that one was a big part of that game.
And you just see the upside of him. You see the athleticism. You see the versatility of a guy like Jalen McDaniels. With a guy like George Niang, you know he's going to get his run because he can have a night like last night where he goes 5 for 6 from 3 and potentially wins a game for you in that way. But he also has he's also a liability defensively at points, especially in a playoff type series. So with a guy like McDaniels, who's obviously still new here, who you want to get a little bit more confidence in and build a little bit more of a chemistry with, I don't hate the idea of McDaniels potentially getting the start tomorrow as well.
Fair enough. 610-632-0975. Some room for callers to jump in. Let's go to Mitch in East Windsor. He wants to talk a little Eagles draft. Mitch, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning. What's popping?
Not much, man. Good win last night. Good morning today.
Yeah, it was a good win. Just imagine if Melton and Tobias Harris would put up better numbers, especially DeAnthony and Melton. You know, I like him since from USC. That was a good pickup, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. Young player, going to be a part of this team for a while, hopefully. Yeah, it's a nice pickup by them.
Definitely. Tobias Harris, I think he's overpaid. But anyway.
Everybody thinks he's overpaid. That's all right. That's not changing.
I'm reading these mock drafts. I know it's a waste of time. I like to see how much they're wrong, but they know more than me. One guy had taken 2 defensive linemen. Another one had a defensive lineman and a cornerback. And the one I really like, Bijan Robinson. And I think in the later rounds, the middle rounds, I like Gardner. Doesn't have a strong arm. I'm thinking DTR or Tanner McKee. You think they do that? You get one of those guys. I think you should have 3 quarterbacks on your roster all the time so you can see what the 49ers, how they screw that up.
Yeah.
And that was something like that the quarterback couldn't throw and they had a plan.
It wouldn't shock me if they went quarterback in the draft rather than getting a more reliable veteran type backup just because of the salary cap and all the money they need to spend. I think they do both, but it wouldn't shock me if they pick a quarterback late.
I want to see a Pac-12 being the backup, just like Gardner Minshew. But anyway, thanks for taking the call. Enjoy the day.
Appreciate it, Mitch. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I do think they're going to address the quarterback through the draft. I think Ian Book's back, right? Is he still under contract?
So,
yeah. So Jalen Hurts and Ian Book is your room right now. Gardner Minshew is not coming back. You're not going to pay him. He's going to get a contract somewhere to either be a bridge guy or be a highly paid backup, and it won't be in Philadelphia. So you do need to address that position. And the best way to do it is go get somebody in like the 5th or 6th round that doesn't turn into Clayton Thorson, that you can that plays a similar style to Jalen Hurts, that you can just kind of have back there just in case.
I think you're correct. I think it's always smart to have cheap backup quarterbacks available for your team. Absolutely. They need to be better than Clayton Thorson. You are correct.
Quarterback factory, Tommy. Quarterback factory.
I do believe, however, like long term, I think it's smart taking a guy in the 5th or 6th round, whatever, to be a backup. But if you're a team with Super Bowl aspirations, which the Eagles are going to be next season, despite the schedule getting harder, despite Hurts potentially making more money, despite guys not being here, we have Super Bowl aspirations for next season. I can't have my one backup be a 5th round pick. Like you're going to have to go there and get a veteran as well. Because are you trusting a 5th or 6th round pick to win 2 games for you potentially if Hurts goes down like he did this season? Because I'm not. So down the road, I think that's smart. But right now, I think you need to get a veteran in here as well.
I mean,
draft one late and get a veteran on cheap.
I don't think you're doing both. What are you going to bring 4 quarterbacks in and then you? Yeah, I don't.
Well, then are you going to trust Ian Book to win 2 games for you next season if he goes down? I think you got to have some sort.
You kind of have to. There's too much money. There's too much money that you can't upgrade. It goes into the running back conversation. There's too much that you need to bring back or add to this team or shore up that you can't waste funds and assets on a quarterback. Like a veteran quarterback to bring in.
If they go into next season with Ian Book and a 6th round rookie as their backup quarterbacks, that's a problem. That's an issue.
I disagree.
Okay. Well, then when Hurts misses 4 games next year and they go 0-4 in those 4 games, then we're going to have a different conversation.
How many games did Hurts miss this year?
He missed 2.
How did they do in those games?
They went 1-1 because they had Gardner. Okay. Then what if they go 0-2? Who knows if they get the 1 seed?
They didn't go 1-1, dude.
They went 0-2. Excuse me. Yes, they did.
Exactly.
Okay. Regardless.
And guess where they went?
I'm just saying.
They're
fine. Schedule that is so much harder next season, 1 or 2 games might mean the world, and that could potentially be you getting the 1 seed or you winning the division with those 1 or 2 games.
I got you.
5th or 6th round rookie and Ian Book is not going to cut it.
It cuts it for me.
Well,
you got other things.
You're cut from the wrong cloth then, buddy.
You want a hot tub. We got to fix the roof.
A backup quarterback is one of the most important positions in sports.
Okay, fine. Maybe it's an above ground pool. Either way, we got to fix the roof.
Okay, fair enough.
610-632-0975. Kevin Cooney walks into the studio. He's going to be coming up next. Kevin's got you from noon to 3. Kev, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you guys? By the way, I could solve this backup quarterback issue. Yeah, veteran backup and draft pick.
What do you got?
Stetson Bennett.
He's
27 years old. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
He's older than Hurts, literally. He probably goes, 5th round, you think?
It was funny because his combine was apparently not that bad.
Yeah, I did.
So he could be 4th, 5th. Remember, Eagles don't have anything in 4th and 5th. So.
Wouldn't hate that. SEC
as of now,
guy.
As of now, yeah.
Guy who's won, guy who played at a premier organization.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
No. I mean, it's a step up. And look, I'm a Notre Dame guy, but it's a step up from Ian Book.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ian Book gives you basically nothing. Here's my question. I know this might sound crazy, but it's Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's crazy. Just bringing in a guy who won a national championship or won 2 national championships.
Absolutely.
Turn into
I'm thinking for
Jalen
us,
Hurts
guys,
runs too much.
Guys, I'm thinking for us because of the fact that the minute Jalen Hurts has a bad game, you're going to have
Stetson Bennett time, baby. Come on.
I trust the fan base to not do it because I think we're so Jalen Hurts obsessed at this point.
We better not.
But might be wishful thinking for me.
Should I rewind the clock to 2017 when we were all Carson Wentz obsessed?
Yes.
Yeah, well, then Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. That's a little bit of a different setup.
Well, I think people were still fired up when Foles came back the following year because they saw the first couple games of Foles that year, and they struggled. That people were like, oh, thank God, Carson's back. And then by the time Carson got hurt at the end of the year, it's like, oh, my God, Nick's back. Thank God.
It's always so weird.
I don't think we see a situation like that again in sports, though. Like, that was such a – and with the head space that Carson –
I was just going to say, it's the quarterback who caused the problem.
Correct, yeah. Like, Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz, it is night and day when it comes to their mental makeup.
And now that dude's not even on a team anymore.
Right,
so.
and the organization didn't help. You don't put a statue up right away.
That whole situation was
very weird. I get
Bud Light's fault.
I was just going to say it was a beer sponsorship, but I mean, okay, maybe you have it for like the joke for like game 1, then get everybody out.
Then take it down. Yeah, that whole situation.
Ray putting, should the Eagles bring up Carson Wentz?
He's available.
Should
Give
Ray
Carson
leave the studio? 610-632-0975.
We're not doing that. Now, Kev, let's shift to the Sixers real quick. How'd you feel about that win last night? How are you feeling about the team in general? Are you as confident as Tom and I are?
It's funny, as I said last night on Twitter, I have no idea what this team is right now. I really don't. Are they the team that can't guard the perimeter like they did in Dallas? Are they the one who can score 47 in the fourth quarter to beat Milwaukee on the road? I don't know. I agree with one point. Everybody in this town, when you go to mass today or go to your service, your religious service, even if you're a-religious, hit your knees and pray to God it's not the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, they're a problem.
Because it's a matchup problem. It's a mental block. It's everything.
They're their kryptonite. At this point, that's all they've been is their kryptonite for the Philadelphia 76ers.
If you're gonna sign me up for Sixers Bucks for a 7-game series, be my guest.
All in.
I'm not sure a Sixers Celtics series gets past 5, guys. I really don't.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I look at the skill level of the two teams, and you say that should be a 6 or 7 game series. But you look at the way the Sixers play that team, and it's hard to say that they found a way to compete.
Especially they dropped the first 2 early.
I was just going to say, if you lost the first 2 in Boston, because it'll be in Boston.
Right.
Because you've lost the tiebreaker already and all that. All right, so by the time they get home, are they thinking, we're not going to win up there? So you get the one token, like, what's it?
Exactly.
Gentleman's sweep, I guess is Jalen Rose's term.
What happened in that series with Bellinelli, right? The Bellinelli shot was the same thing, where it was 5 games.
So I think that's the thing. I'm hesitant to jump all in. I like to know what happened with Tobias and PJ Walker. If this is going to be
Tucker.
more what
PJ Tucker.
What did I say?
PJ Walker. Yes.
There's former Temple quarterback.
Little Temple slip. Ray's loving that one back there.
So I just don't want people to yell at you. Sorry.
Why I would say PJ Walker outside of Charlotte at this point, I have no idea.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, right. I mean, to me, that's going to be a serious thing going forward. I know people beat up on Tobias. Try and win in over a 10, 15 game span if Tobias isn't there.
Oh, yeah,
no, he's an important part.
Absolutely, especially with, which is crazy, a little bit of a lack of depth that this team has, which coming into the season, and we didn't think was going to be the case at all because of how much we thought the bench improved on paper. But yeah, Tobias, he gets a bad rep, and listen, he is overpaid. He gets paid a ton of money, too much money.
Not his fault.
No, it's not, absolutely. But people are always going to hold him to that. Fans are always going to hold him to that. But yeah, if Tobias misses games more than just a game here or there, you'll notice that he's off the court.
And by the way, I thought Doc. Everybody badmouths Doc when what happened the other night in Dallas. I thought Doc had a great game last night.
Yeah,
he
followed up.
The way he juggled rotations. Even the challenge was the right move.
Yeah.
The idea of I'm fighting for you.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And he never does that.
He said that to Embiid, right?
Right.
I did see he said that.
Yeah, he said that to Embiid. I knew I would lose it, but I wanted to tell you I wanted to fight. By the way,
I wish he'd do that more.
Well, I get why
not
he
like
doesn't.
often, but like every once in a while, it's like a manager getting thrown out in baseball. Every once in a while, you gotta have your guys
When
back.
the team needs
and
it,
I don't
kind
think
of.
he does that enough.
And that's fair. I think that's fair criticism. But I also know that maybe as a veteran, can we talk about how bad NBA officials are? By the way, that game last night was
Every
a
official of
disgrace.
every sport is terrible. I hate all.
No.
They all
He
drive
is
me
so
insane. I'm so anti-official.
And I'm not.
I'll be honest. I think baseball umpires are pretty good usually.
Yeah, they are.
Other than Angel Hernandez and Joe West for forever. Yeah.
Joe West was a great ball and strike umpire, by the way.
Yeah.
One of the best ball and strike umpires there was.
Well, I mean, I don't have his numbers or anything like that.
I could give you like the pitch and
no, he was a good umpire. He was just it
was the attitude.
I get the attitude. I guess that's what people
By
rub
the
people
way,
the wrong way.
since we're on baseball, I got to say this, Connor, and I told you this during the break. You could not be more wrong on the World Baseball Classic. It's hot garbage.
You're out?
I'm out.
It's gonna be awesome.
You know why? You know why? 1 and 2 inning pitcher performances. If it's the wrong time of year, and I said this, and I will bet pizzas. I will bet whatever. Okay. They will draw. Now, Fox and FS1 are broadcasting it. It's not just MLB Network this time. They will draw lesser ratings than the XFL. Because of the fact it's going up against March Madness, the NBA, it's too crowded a calendar time.
So then how does the XFL draw in there too?
Because it's football.
Yeah.
And it's something to gamble on.
I think the stars that are on Team USA's roster are going to have a real big impact on how this
People don't watch the World Series. Unless your team's in it, people don't watch the World Series. It feels artificial. It feels made up.
If people aren't into baseball, then they're not going to watch baseball at that point.
Right.
Like, there's no changing that. Like, I think the people that are even casual fans, even after this Phillies run, I think they'll buy into the World Baseball Classic a little bit. You're right. March Madness is going to be number 1. NBA will be number 2. But
I believe there's times in the calendar where people think certain sports.
Yeah.
The NFL is the only one who kind of goes 24/7.
Yeah.
The NBA till about mid-July, and then we forget about it till late October.
And baseball doesn't really start to creep in until you get into May, really. Even the first month of the season.
I would say opening day.
But then there's the opening day lull, and then you get back in like June, July, dog days.
I would say, you get through the NBA and the NHL playoffs in a city. The NHL used to have playoffs. They used to come into this city.
Yeah, heard of them.
Yeah. So
must
that's
be nice.
It won't be around here for
not
a long
anytime
time.
soon. Absolutely. So you're out completely on the World Baseball Classic. You won't watch it all?
I'll probably watch the final,
Okay.
but I honestly don't think the risk is worth it. I don't think baseball.
Now that's a different story.
Yeah, I
don't
agree
think
with that.
I don't think baseball's a sport where you could just go half in.
It's just Sir Anthony, the only pitcher from the Phillies, right?
Yeah.
Because I have
Alvarado, I think too.
Alvarado and then Soto potentially.
Soto's a no.
Taiwan-
Soto's not going to make it there.
I'd have no interest whatsoever in Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola pitching in these games. None. Because you're right. The injuries.
It'll be great offense, but and here's the other bad part about the World Baseball Classic. Now you got me on a rant on this. So baseball spent the whole spring training building up all this time about the new rules.
Yeah, and they're not using them.
And they're not using them.
Yeah, that is.
Why?
It's not Major League Baseball. It's a different.
Major League Baseball's running it.
Are they in charge of the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, this is a Rob Manfred. This is Bud Selig, Rob Manfred's baby.
They have all say. They have final decision on everything, all the rules and everything like that. Manfred and them. Yeah, that's stupid. Then that makes absolutely no sense. And we're going to say there's going to be times throughout early in the season. It's probably going to happen anyway because of how extreme some of the rule changes are, but because of the lack of time, extra time they have in spring training, we're going to see situations like Manny Machado where there's already a strike because he takes too long to get in or whatever.
And Machado's pretty much said, hey, just talk me up for a strike every time. I'm not changing.
Right. I
bet you Bryce is like that.
It'll be interesting to see how he handles it coming back. I don't know.
With the lack of reps that he's going to be having.
I also believe that by the time we get to June or July, they'll ease back the enforcement.
Yeah, okay. I think early, and then
it's like hockey or football with like your pass interference calls.
Or like the delay a game in football.
Yeah, where it's like it hits 0 and then you have another second.
Yes.
Yeah,
which
I got
it should be. But
it's interesting how things are shifting around. But man, it's a lot of fun topics right now. It's one of the things we talked about in our first segment is how much of a fun sports time this is. Even though we don't have football, which is always the draw here. You got the Sixers. You got the tournament coming up. You got golf kicking into gear.
Imagine there was a local team that made the tournament.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But fortunately, we don't have that this year. I'm going Tennessee Volunteers is the team that I'm jumping on the bandwagon for. Go Vols.
I'm kind of Gonzaga at this time.
Okay.
UCLA.
They need to win one. UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA.
What year is it?
I love their point guard.
UCLA.
Dude, his hair's twice the size of his body.
You really love Kareem and Wooden, don't you?
Yeah, big fan. Absolutely.
That's what got him into basketball. Tom's actually 50 years old.
Yes,
if you didn't know.
Hey, don't make fun of the 50-year-old.
I'm not. I'm just making fun of Tom. Appreciate it, Kev. You got 3 hours coming up, man. Everyone, make sure you're locked in so you hear Kevin Cooney coming up. He's got great stuff like that. D-Lina follows him from 3 to 5:30. Then you have, that team we were talking about, Flyers. Red Wings and Flyers come up later today.
Can't miss hockey, buddy.
Absolutely. Make sure you're locked in on all of that. It's been a fun show. Really great time. Thank you, Tom, for being along for the ride.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to everyone who tweeted, called, texted, all that good stuff. YouTube, thank you to Haley for running that. Thank you to Ray for running the board and suggesting 40 bad ideas, a backup quarterback for the Eagles.
Great job, Ray.
Appreciate that. Fly safe tonight, buddy. Enjoy the airport, Tom's favorite place in the world. But, man, this is a fun show, fun sports time, fun win for the Sixers last night, and hopefully it's putting us in a direction of another successful Philadelphia sports season. And hopefully this team actually finishes the job. We'll talk to you next time here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
90.